Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the GT New Zealand Championship as we approach the halfway mark of this 6-round season. Today, on the 27th of July, it is round 3. And for your viewing pleasure, once again, 2 races today. The SF23s at Spa for a 21-lap open strategy race with high tyre and high fuel degradation with a possibility of rain. And of course, race 2, the Lexus RCF 2014 cars at Alsace. The village layout for 15 laps. It's a complicated track on the sports mediums with standard tyre wear and fuel wear. My name is George Cook and I'll be joined here today by Matthew Smith. It is a great time to be back here in the commentary box. These SF23s are going to be wild.
They absolutely are, and I'm excited to see it. We keep throwing new challenges at these drivers, and we're seeing who can stand up to those challenges. And tonight, it's a new format again. We might be seeing some rain in those Super Formula cars.
Rain, Super Formulas, and Spa-Francorchamps. That's a great combination. Very much looking forward to it. And of course, a massive thanks to our sponsors of the GT New Zealand Championship. First place, the champion, will be taking away a real-world drive with Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand, our primary sponsor. And of course, we've also got a number of other sponsors as well, including Hectic and the Hectic Race Moment, which we'll be talking about in a few moments' time. So keep those submissions rolling in. We've been having a lot of fun going and watching the different antics that have been happening out on track. We tend to cover all the glorious battles and the great racecraft. Sometimes there are wilder saves, boldest overtakes, biggest comebacks, and memorable moments that we don't get to see on camera. Welcome into everyone watching live on YouTube. Of course, a massive thanks to the New Zealand Sim Racing Collective, their New Zealand Sim Racing Hub, the New Zealand Sim Racing TV channel that we're going live to right now, our broadcast partners TrackSpotTV, and a number of others as well, including New Zealand Esports, for helping us put on this incredible series. Matt, let's talk Hectic Race Moment, because this is where your stuff comes in, and I believe we've got a good one this week.
Oh, we absolutely do. Hectic Motorsport News, of course, keeps you up to date on all the racing happening in New Zealand and beyond. But some of that racing's happening right here in this championship. In Division 2 last week, this is our hectic moment of the round. The 2 championship contenders leading the way, Toyota and Airborne, they were going at it. Toyota came out of pit lane and got side by side with Airborne. We clipped the first corner. They were already side by side into turn 2, and they continued the battle on through the entire lap. Look at this, continuing through the corners, side by side the whole way, giving each other racing room, which is what we love to see. And the battle just kept going throughout the lap, a full lap almost of Red Bull Ring, a minute of side-by-side action, and eventually Toyota gets it done on the inside, gets ahead of Airborne, and makes the move stick. He did, unfortunately, make a mistake a couple of corners later and lost the spot, but I think that's a worthy winner. Amongst, as you say, we got to witness quite a few good moments getting submitted last week.
Exactly right. And our focus on Division 2 for a moment here will continue. We've got a new thing that we're introducing to our broadcast, and that is the setup of the week. And we want you to check this out. Chris Farepapa from Division 2, he has been submitting some great pictures of his amazing home-built rig. That's him there in the driver's seat right now. And guess what? That's what it looks like on the outside. He's got the Gulf stickers, the Sparco stickers. He's got a rear wing, of all things, a no-step wing as well, and the ammunition to take sniper shots at his opponent's tires as well, Matt.
So cool. I hadn't actually noticed the no step. Like the detail on this thing is awesome, and I imagine climbing in to go racing, it's just got to be the absolute peak vibes, right? That's got to be so much fun to jump into that rig.
Absolutely right. So as we refocus ourselves on Division 1, here are your championship standings. Matt McEwen now 3 wins to his name in 2 rounds. That's 55 points total and a 13-point gap to Simon Bishop in P2. Gareth Collier has elevated himself up into P3 with a much better round 2 performance, 33 points to his name, followed by Alex Little, only 5 points behind him. Then it's a 1-point gap between 4th, 5th, and 6th. Reese Davison on 27 points and another point down for Ben Groves on 26 points. Scotty greenless Lewis Atkinson, who is back for round 3 on 18 points in 8th place. Tom England in 9th. Amit Biswas in 10th. 11th to Philip Smith. Matthew Budd finds himself in 12th. And we have Olaf Flesch in 13th. And Ben McDonnell in 14th. There's going to be some great stories to show you all tonight. And one of those is going to be one of our drivers. So let's take a little look. And Matt, Amit Biswas, he's got some interesting history here.
He absolutely does. Goes by Supra in the game, and you'll recognize him from the first round. Of course, we were in the Supras, and he was doing well there. He's done well this championship, and he's one of the success stories in terms of a driver improving year over year, season over season. In 2024, you can see there, he was in Division 2 in the championship. He's now progressed. He qualified 7th coming into this season, and he's currently sitting 10th in the standings. He's improved every race so far this season. So I was just looking at his history. Started the season, finished 10th. He then finished 9th and 2 8ths in the previous round. Can he continue that trend tonight and move up the field? Definitely one we will be keeping an eye on.
Certainly will be, and there's a whole lot of practice that's been going in for this round. The first time we've had a serious threat of rain, and Spa-Francorchamps is not an easy track to get around. Amit, I'm sure, will be practicing his heart out to try and get himself further up the grid. So let's take another look at today's round. 21 laps, and it sounds like a lot, but in these SF23s, Matt, it's going to be quite quick.
These are rapid cars. We're really escalating the speed this round, jumping in these super formula cars. I love to see it. And what's interesting as well with this format, where we jump between the different cars, we really could see a little bit of a change in the order if some drivers have more of a strength in the open wheel cars.
Yeah, certainly could. And of course, there is energy recovery as well with these cars. Qualifying will begin very shortly, folks. 10-minute qualifier coming up very, very soon. But tell us a little bit about these energy deployment devices we've got on the Super Formulas.
Yeah, it's something we haven't seen yet. There's sort of an extra level of boost that you're able to use, an extra bit of power that gets deployed, but you have a limited amount of that throughout the race. So where you choose to use it, I believe it's called the overtake system as well, because most likely you're going to choose to use it to try and get an overtake done or to defend from an overtake. So when we get to the race, sort of management of that system and where you choose to deploy is one of the key factors in the strategy of the race.
Indeed, and I'm going to throw you under the bus here, Matt. I haven't done that too much actually this season. I'm completely honest with you. I think I've been pretty easy on you so far. What's your opening tyre? What's your strategy? Go on, give us a lens into these drivers' thought process here today.
Well, this is an interesting question because forecast is we're going to be starting in the wet. There is a bit of drizzle out there on the track at Spa, so that really sort of throws a spanner in the strategy question. I was doing a little bit of practice in the dry, and I was looking at whether it was maybe a one-stop with the soft tires. Of course, you want to have that extra speed, carry that momentum. Come into the pits, it might cost you 18 seconds, but across 21 laps on the faster tire might be beneficial. However, the rain throws a spanner and all of that. You really have to rethink it, and it's more going to be a question of, do you go on the softs or do you go on the intermediate tires to try and disperse that water around the circuit?
A lot of decisions for our drivers to make today. Qualifying has just begun. So we'll see you out there on track in a few moments' time. Well, here we are. We have our driver cam up at the moment. That is currently Atom in P9, sporting the Hooncorp livery for the SF23 today. Great looking livery, and I know that Nathan Howe and the Hooncorp team do a lot of work to make that livery look as good as they do. And we have to call attention once again to Tom's garage in the background there. You can see the Gandalf saxophone meme going around endlessly on the 12-hour cycle, I'm sure. Got to be at least 12 hours. You know, you don't go for the 8-hour one, you don't go for the 1-hour one, you go for the full 12-hour video. Nonetheless, currently out on track, he's P8. There's a big line of cars heading now towards their first lap. Through Blanchemont we go, then you'll be into the bus stop chicane, and then through down towards La Source. Of course, that timing line in GT7 for these cars will be after the bus stop chicane, not down after La Source, but I believe, Matt, we do start from down the road up towards Eau Rouge.
And no, you might have thrown me on the bus. That should be the start line right there. We've just seen Adam cross over it. And so the timing has begun. And he is on a lap. Has to go into the source. Has to nail this corner on the first lap. And we are seeing there is a little bit of dampness out on the circuit. It's not bone dry. However, looking at these tires is a great time to go on board as well. Look at that. They are slick tires. So they've chosen to go out there on the racing soft. There's not enough water to cause a problem just yet. But we'll be keeping an eye on how this weather evolves and how that's going to affect qualifying if it does come down more. It looks like it might just stay light for now, but it won't be quite the grip levels that we had in the dry.
Yeah, we were talking to Tom, of course, at the end of round 2. We had his best result so far, and he did say that he's much more familiar, much more comfortable in these faster spec cars, and certainly his time in the GT World Series prepared him for that, where they were driving the Red Bull X cars for a number of times. That is another Hooncorp car gone. They made a huge mistake through the now called, I've got to bring it up here, the now called turn 9 Jackie X corner, formerly no name, formerly Speaker's corner. And that's a huge mistake on the exit. These cars will get very, very loose. There's a lot of power being put down by them. And of course, racing soft tires and slightly damp conditions as well going to be coming into play. Through we go into Paul Frere. Now out to the right-hander, Blanchimont, and this is the back straight. And a lot of the drivers going to be looking for that slipstream to elevate themselves up the grid today.
Absolutely right. It's going to be critical. It's definitely plays a role when you're in these high-speed Formula-style cars. That once you get in behind, sort of in that within that 1 second range, which Tom definitely will be now, he'll be picking it up nicely down the straight there into the braking zone. He should be able to get through that corner without getting blocked too much and then cross the line. This could be a good lap here from Tom. We'll get an idea where the benchmark is. He's a little bit down. Ben Groves has set the pace early with that 150.3. That is a good lap time on the board already.
That is indeed 50.3. I think that's very close to what we saw in practice. Practice was actually dry conditions as well. So Ben Groves actually coming alive in this session so far. Scotty Ray just behind him, and we're currently looking at dive cables. Very fiery SF23. Great to see that one. Supra has found himself in 4th. Big Ed Ted 6th, 7th for Clan Fever, and 8th for Crimson. So a little bit of mispositioning here. We haven't seen Simon Bishop or Matt McEwen as yet. McEwen may be up to his usual tricks and making sure he's not the first one out on track, being followed everywhere. A few little bits of information, of course, about Spa-Francorchamps, nestled in the Belgian Alps. 7 kilometers, the track, 20 corners, and 100 meters of elevation from the lowest point, which I believe is somewhere around turn 14, 15. Someone can correct me in chat if that's wrong. All the way up to the top, which is where the Kemmel Straight is, that very famous Eau Rouge Radion complex, as they sweep to the right and then sweep to the left and over the top of the hill, down the Kemmel Straight. That is one of the highest points in the circuit. And of course, dynamic weather supported today. So we'll be running it at 8 times variable weather. So essentially the weather is going to be accelerating forward in time by 8 times faster than it normally would. Exciting times as McEwen does a 49.
Ooh, that is flying. And I was keeping an eye on it. He looked good around the circuit just then. One of the interesting things I did pick up on board his lap as well, they are using the overtake here in qualifying. And so that's why we're seeing a bunch of these drivers resetting back to the pits. It's to refill the overtake tank, and then they can get back out there and just use all of it on their hot lap. So it's kind of upping the stakes on those hot laps. You can't afford to make mistakes because there's not enough time to reset and do that many laps in this qualifying if you're going to go back to the pits each time. So they're maybe only going to get 1 or 2 in here, but they're just burning the overtake through the hot lap.
And actually a good example of that is right now, Big Ed Ted's just started a lap. He started on full overtake. He's already hitting that button like his life depends on it. White knuckle on the overtake button through this complex here, through Eau Rouge and Radion. And you'll also be able to tell there's a little green halo above his head. That indicates that he is above a certain percentage of overtake. So he has overtake left. When that goes red, I believe it means they have either 10 or 25% left in the overtake, and then when it disappears, I believe there is no overtake left. Someone can correct me. Matt, you can probably correct me on that, but that is the indicator for whether the cars have overtake. Going to be critical as we watch the race.
No, I think you've got that just right. It is, I believe, 25% that it goes red. So, like you say, they'll be checking their mirrors during the race to see what the driver behind them is doing and seeing if they've used it up earlier or used it up or still got some in the tank to use later in the race. In qualifying though, they are using a lot of it, and this is the fastest we're going to see these cars. They're going to have to be more conservative during the race, but this time, any straight, they are slamming that button, getting that little bit of extra power through the engine to the wheels, carry them around the lap, try and get the ultimate lap in. As a few of these drivers continue to go faster, Crimson's jumped up to second there, and they're moving around, but Bishop's still down in 12th.
Yeah, so Simon Bishop a bit out of position at the moment, a 153.1. I hope he's not taking intermediate tyres for the qualifying. Need to be on those racing softs. We're just keeping an eye on Clan Fever here. I know that we've got some additional driver cameras today, which we're looking forward to bringing up. There he is right now. So get your driver cams on there. If you're not finding that the driver you like has no driver cam, then do let us know, and then do let them know. Tell them to get that driver camera enabled. It's really, really good fun. So through the last part of the circuit here and into the really hard braking zone, gets it all the way back down into second, still doing 90 kilometers per hour through these last couple of corners, then back on the power. Use the last little bit of overtake there. Can Clan Fever improve? He can't. It's a personal best for him though. Unfortunately, not quite enough for that one. So he will reset and go again. 8 minutes 22. Actually, no, he can't. So anyone finishing and going back to the pits now, Matt, is out and done.
Yeah, absolutely right. This format where they're trying to make the most of that overtake is really making it a tough situation in terms of they're not getting many laps in here. We've seen the 10-minute qualifying session throughout the season, and usually it gives them the chance to make those mistakes, recover, try and recoup, and then come back at it. But yeah, the way that they're having to come back to the pits, costing them, and we're right at the point here now with only just over a minute left to go. They're going to be wanting to get those laps in now, and hopefully they have all discovered that they do need to be boosting out there, because I'm watching a lap from Lewis. He might be on an out lap. Yeah, sorry, I've made the mistake there. The drivers are onto it. Yeah, he's on an out lap, so he's saving it for the fast lap.
Throw yourself under the bus on that one. Well, we've all done it once or twice in the commentary box, some more than others, myself included. We're just looking at Crimson as McEwen goes faster by some magnitude. He's nearly a second ahead of Crimson right now with these final laps where the track has definitely been improving. There's been less and less moisture on the track, so these will be some of the fastest laps we do see. I get the feeling this might be a reset to the pits for Crimson, but has he got a good time on the board? Let's see. Goes across the line, doesn't get any closer this time. He's going to carry on and not actually refill the overtake system in his car, but that time that he set is absolutely brilliant. I think he's actually got... No, Ben Groves has also just come through. He doesn't improve either, but Crimson right now, this is impressive work by him. He's not been up at the pointy end of the grid so far this season. In the SF23s, he's also coming alive.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is the question I was raising, wasn't it? Do different drivers prefer these cars? They handle so differently to some of the cars we've seen throughout this season. We talk a lot about how Big Head Ted really comes alive in the road cars. He loves to slide them around just a little bit. That's where his expertise is. But it seems to be that Crimson loves the Super Formula cars. He's connected with it. He's this driving style working for him in the faster car. And the way he's also using the overtake, where he managed to get through a lap only using half of it, I wonder if that's an intentional strategy to try and give himself more opportunities, just losing a little bit less overtake to give himself the opportunity to do 2 laps within the same stint.
Oh, as we're watching the final laps, of course, a couple of little stats here for the nerds out there, myself included. Displacement 2000cc, it's an inline 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged with 634 PS, that's 625 brake horsepower, and 55 kilograms or 398 pounds-foot of torque. So these things are really powerful. Mid-engine layout, drivetrain, of course, in this case is a rear-wheel drive car, 6-speed. So really powerful bits of machinery, and some drivers do prefer it. They're relying on that high downforce, high grip scenario. Through the last couple of corners for Crimson, will he improve? There's been no other improvements around the grid. Bishop, though, up to 5th. Scotty Ray goes to 2nd. Crimson's missing out, and he's actually lost out on that one entirely. Scotty Ray and Gareth Collier get ahead. Adam gets pushed down to P7, and of course, Alex Little down into P8 there as well. Wow, that was a fantastic lap right at the end for both Scotty Greenless and, of course, Gareth Collier. That is the exact kind of lap that they needed, and they will be starting in the top 3 for race 1. Fantastic work.
Mega drive from Scotty Ray to get into the 49s as well. But man, they saved it to the end, didn't they? We talk about how we've got the full 10 minutes to make the most of, and he used it. We saw the conditions changing so much. At the end, there was sun beaming down on the track, no water concerns at all, and maybe that is just giving them that little bit of difference. They saved their best till last and were able to jump up the order on their final lap. Scotty Ray and Divecable were both coming in with those final laps there.
And of course, Scotty Ray massively reducing that gap, which was at nearly 0.9 of a second for Matt McEwen over Crimson, finds himself a lot closer. So that's good news for him overall in the race. Scotty Ray actually did very well at Interlagos as well last round, but Divecable finds himself in third place, and beside him on the second row of the grid will be Crimson. What a qualifying, his best so far. Sly Ben the Cat, Ben Groves will be in fifth, followed by Simon Bishop in sixth. Then it is Tom England lining up on the fourth row of the grid with Andrew Little. Big Head Ted finds himself eye to eye, or I guess tire to tire, with Supra in P10, Lewis Atkinson in 11th, and of course Clan Fever in P12. We've got an exciting race ahead of us, folks. So don't go anywhere. The race will be starting in a few moments' time. Matt, give us a breakdown. What do they need to do at the start of this race?
Wow, it's going to be interesting. First thing they need to do is decide what tires they're going to be on, and I'm sure they would have been doing a little bit of practice and checking out the conditions to make sure that they make the right decision there. It's going to be difficult. Some of the drivers talk about maybe not expecting much out of this round. Simon was saying maybe he wasn't going to go so well in the Super Formulas. He's qualified 5th, so that's reasonably good. Oh, sorry, 6th, if I get the positions right. Adam, who talked about loving the Super Formula cars and hoping that this might be his chance to do well, he's qualified 7th. So whether we saw in the practice earlier, he was sort of leaving it to the last minute to join the lobby. So I wonder if he was doing some last minute practicing. Is that going to help him in the wet conditions? And then Lewis coming back from those BMX championship in Australia. He's back racing tonight, but he has qualified down the order and he's got work to do in this one.
He certainly does. Right, we look forward to a 21-lap open strategy race with possible rain start coming up in a few moments' time. We'll see you out there on track. Here we go, folks. This first run through the Kemmel Straight will be absolutely critical. They're lining up just before the corner of La Source. False starts penalized. As always, 21 laps and round 3 begins in 5 lights time. And we are away, racing. What a start there from Matt McEwen off the line beautifully. Scotty is going to be overtaken immediately by Gareth Collier coming into the first corner. This is where it gets hairy. Oh, there's a slow car on the inside. That's Gareth Collier, and look at everyone running over that sausage curb. A couple of cars around as well, including Ben Groves, who's dropped down the table, as has Big Head Ted. Atom has moved up a couple of positions early doors, and Divecable finds himself in P2. Crimson up 1, and Clan Fever, from what seems to be nowhere, has come up into 4th place. But look at the squabbling that's going to happen. They're 3 wide already down the Kemmel Straight. It's only the first lap, folks, but Clan Fever has found the inside line. Scotty Ray wants a piece of it, but he's going to have to back out of that one. Deep into Lecombe for Clan Fever. Hold on to the position beautifully. Atom, I thought, there has gone wide, and Clan Fever will pick up a penalty for his troubles on the opening part of this, as Big Head Ted now tries to make his way back through the field. So it's chaos in the mid-pack at the moment. Matt McEwen running away with things at the top. Crimson has found himself in 5th, and then Atom leading this battle pack at the back as we see another car run wide. Definitely some dampness out there. These are not optimal conditions, and I think a lot of cars are on the slick tires as well.
They all are, from what I can tell. All these drivers opting for the slick tires. It's not quite at the crossover point to need the intermediates, but full on out the gate, isn't it? You have to have such quick reactions in these cars, and they've just spent 10 minutes with plenty of space around them. Suddenly the grid's so crowded on this first lap, and a lot of mistakes early doors. Open the door. McEwen's come through to still be leading, but potentially the battle behind him has just been going crazy and continues.
That is close there for Gareth Collier and Clan Fever. Definitely a bit of overtake being used there by Gareth Collier to get the position and assert himself in this. I'm not sure if that's the best time to be using it. We'll see. Through La Source, a lot of drivers will be saving it for the Kemmel Straight, and you'll just get overtaken again and again and again. Here we go into La Source. Shallow line again from Gareth Collier. He's been defensive through there in both of these opening laps, and he's round. No, that's Clan Fever. Clan Fever is round, and he is off the track. Falls now back down into P6, and I think Simon Bishop will even find himself catching up rapidly. There's collision between the two. That's Big Ed Ted and Simon Bishop going through Rouge and Radeon. Things happen so quickly with these Super Formula cars. Honestly, it's hard to keep up, but that is a moment there for them. Ahead of them, 3 wide yet again. Oh my goodness, into Lagoon we go. Scotty Ray not able to find the inside line. Dive Cable holding on beautifully down that back straight. Crimson holding in just behind them and allowing Atom to start to claw his way back into this fight for the top 3. McEwen is checked out once again. So there is McEwen there. 4 seconds is the gap. He's used his overtake to escape the pack massively. So only a second now between Dive Cable and Scotty Ray, who's going to come under an immense attack, I suspect, as we see Atom now fighting with Simon Bishop. These two have gained a number of positions early on in this race. We'll be heading on to lap 3 at some point very, very soon. In terms of tyre breakdowns, where are we at? I think there's a few mediums out there. Anyone choosing the softs out there?
Yeah, so it actually was all mediums except Clan Fever, who's on the soft tyres. So we saw Clan Fever come through the pack so quickly on that first lap. It was quite remarkable, but I think that tyre advantage may be showing. And I will also say a lot of overtake being used from Clan Fever and from a few of these drivers actually using a lot more early on than I would have perhaps expected, but just trying to go for that track position early doors and hope they can hold on to it. But with how much this positions have been going up and down, I'd say overtaking is not so much of a problem, and maybe you do want to hold on to it till later.
Wow, big send into La Source for Ben Groves. He's gone deep. Big Ed Ted's seen that one coming. Oh, a little bit loose on the exit as well. He'll use the overtake. Just a little push of the button to make sure that he can keep up with these guys and not fall under the attack of Clan Fever. And I think what Clan Fever was probably thinking, Matt, is that if I use the softs and use the overtake early on, I can maybe build a gap, follow into Matt McEwen's slipstream and go. But 4 cars in a row, all slipstreaming, all bump drafting, a scary moment for Crimson being pushed along by Ben Groves. He's got the inside line into Lacoon we go. That'll be the outside line as Big Ed Ted gets a little bit loose on the apex. He's loose again. Don't know if that was contact. It possibly was with Clan Fever there. Clan Fever on the softer compounded tires and try to come through. What a battle in the mid-pack we've got.
It's all go, isn't it? Oh, there's a moment there. Who was there? Was that Ben Groves in the fence? Big moment into the wall. He's out of it. And he's going to have to rejoin slowly.
Has he picked up damage on the car? I don't think he has. He's somehow avoided damage on his Super Formula 23 car. That has, of course, dropped him all the way into P10, unfortunately, and Supra right behind him in P11 now with Lewis Atkinson, one of his colleagues, I guess, at the Hooncorp Esports team. Found his way on through. I think there was a couple of close calls there with the likes of Tom England too. So for Ben Groves, it's all gone absolutely wrong.
And that is not what you love to see. That's going to make a hard day in the office in this race. Thankfully, the format we do have in this series, 2 races tonight, he can bounce back in race 2 because there's a separate qualifying session into that one.
Here we go. Bishop has found himself in 3rd place. Wow, both of them getting loose on the exit. Probably a little bit of water still hanging him around some of those curbs. Scotty Ray finds himself down to attack by Atom. And we'll start talking about the strategy and how people are using their overtake, using their tires throughout this race. We're only on lap 4 of 21. So 17 to go. Clean overtake for Atom. Uses a bit of that speed, but I hate to say it, this is where the switcheroos start to happen. You get overtaken through La Source, you go, okay, that's fine. I'll overtake you back through the Kebble Straight. And there we go. We're seeing Scotty Ray attempt to do exactly that, but he's got Simon Bishop ahead of him. So late braking will be a risky move, but around the outside for Scotty Ray. What a move.
Showing that qualifying pace was no fluke. That was nice driving. He's got speed in that car, and now that we start to get into a more settled phase of this race, I think everyone's starting to show their true paces. They're still having to hang on to these cars. Look at the reactions to catch it as they get loose through the corners.
Oh, Big Ed Ted's had a big moment. That was a huge moment through Jackie Ick's corner. He's managed to catch it, fortunately for him. I've seen him a couple of times in practice do the exact same thing, and I do get the feeling that maybe those curbs aren't entirely dry, although you look at the track at the moment, it does look pretty good.
It does look, the sun's come back out again, just like it did in qualifying. So it's looking dry at the moment, and those slick tires were the right choice at this point in the race. And I do start to wonder, are we going to get sort of this dry race strategy that we're thinking about, or could we see a downpour later on? It seems to be we're heading towards dry, which might be a question of whether some of these drivers are going to try and hang on to these tires and go long on the mediums.
Yeah, and of course we know the medium tires will go plenty of distance in this race, especially given how quick it is. There's hardly any degradation on them at all, but you know, do you want to sacrifice the speed? We are using the regular Spa-Francorchamps layout here in Gran Turismo 7. The other layout is the 24-hour layout, which has a much longer pit lane. So for these guys, this is the shorter track, so it's not going to cost them a huge amount in terms of that pit strategy if they decide to come in and switch it up to the soft tire. But given its open strategy, we've got 12 drivers on the grid, and 12 drivers today will be showing us 12 different strategies. That's the key thing to note. We don't exactly know what the optimal strategy is going to be. Still focusing on Scotty Ray at the moment. Atom right behind him sets a personal best, Sector 1. So something about that Gandalf saxophone meme going on in the background of his man cave is egging him on today, is giving him a bit of a tailwind, it seems, at the moment. And certainly he mentioned during the interview, Matt, that he's just a little bit rusty. He's getting back in form, and 5th place at the moment on lap 5 of race 1 is definitely form.
Yeah, it's a strong effort, isn't it? It's so competitive in this grid. We've gone out and found the best Gran Turismo drivers in the country. This is the national championship. You know, they want to claim that crown. They want to claim a race win. Any race result, you know, he was so happy to be on the podium amongst these guys. So it definitely is competitive, and to be up there in 5th and looking like he has potential, you know, he's fighting for it. He's not dropping off. So he could still come back into this one. We know that tire wear could play a role later in the race, so he's wise enough to know that he'll be thinking about that sort of long game.
Indeed he will be, and let's keep an eye as well. We've got 2 drivers not able to make it today. Those will be Matthew Budd and Philip Smith, not able to make it for round 3, unfortunately, here in Division 1. Another round of shout-outs as we head on to the 6th lap of this race. Good lap time there, 54.6, just shows that the pace is starting to drop off just that little bit. Plenty still going on in the battle for the mid-pack at the moment. Lewis Atkinson, Clan Fever, and Ben Groves, who's not yet made a place back up, but he has caught up to this little battle pack that's been evolving. Of course, going live to you right now on YouTube, on the New Zealand Sim Racing TV channel, with delayed broadcasts on the TrackSpotTV channel. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe on all the platforms. Share with your friends and family, especially if you are friends and family of those who are driving. Here goes Lewis Atkinson for his overtake down the Kebble Straight. Clan Fever doesn't want to give up the position, but not going to be able to do much about it. And that's it's the fastest Sector 1 for Lewis Atkinson. Great to have him back on the circuit here at the GTNZC.
Purple first corner, you love to see it. I think he was using the overtake to get that overtake confirmed, using the overtake button, using the extra boost, the extra power. That's what carried him, the extra speed up the straight, gets the position. And now again, we're going to see the Hooncorp teammates next to each other on track. They got racy in the first round when we asked the question if maybe they'd take it easy on their teammates. They're willing to go for it, which we love to see. And these beautiful cars might be coming together again, because Sly Ben trying to make that recovery drive after the moment earlier.
Yeah, and through the Wagner's corners we go. You sweep to the right, you sweep to the left. Little blips of throttle, little blips of brake. Now through final section through towards Blanchimont. Incredibly famous circuit this here at Spa-Francorchamps. Love to see it, really do. And yeah, let's see. I'm just noticing Clan Fever starting to drop off. Those 2 overtakes from drivers who are on the medium tires, Clan Fever being on the soft tires. I think those soft tires are starting to degrade. It's the rears that seem to go first.
Yeah, it will be. They'll you know, be feeling a lot of pressure as they accelerate out of these corners. We've seen these drivers sliding around a little bit through some of the turns as well when they take a little bit too much speed. That's what really will wear them out. But For the most part, these medium tires are quite solid. They will go a long way, and I do ask the question whether they'll try and go the whole race potentially. It looks like a lot of these guys, the tire wear is not too high today. Probably with that rain earlier, the temperature's not too high, so that helps the tires last as well.
Down the Kimmel Straight, you can see the sparks flying on those underbellies of these Super Formula cars. Typical of what we've come to expect, not only in Super Formula. If you don't watch the series, then you definitely should, because the racing is absolutely brilliant, but also, of course, in Formula 1, Formula 2, and Formula 3 when they come to the Belgian circuit, which I believe we were at a couple of weeks ago. So probably quite nice timing here for these chaps to go out there on this wonderful circuit and get some laps in. 14 laps to go in this race, about 28 minutes or so till the end. Slight bit of wind out there as well, 3.2 meters per second, moving towards the east at the moment. That'll give them a lot of grip for the Fagner's corners, which we're just coming through now, on board with Scotty Ray. And once you get through this corner, you'll find that some of that aero does start to loosen up a bit. You're going to get a little bit less downforce through these sections of the track, and even into the bus stop chicane. You're not super reliant on the aero as you go into that section, but nonetheless, you're certainly going to have that tailwind pushing the car around a bit. Very aero sensitive, these cars.
That's absolutely right, and that extra, 3 meters a second of wind will definitely play a role on where your braking point is, what your minimum speed is through the corners as well. You want to be keeping an eye on that. That graphic that we've got at the top right that tells us the wind direction. The drivers have got that as well, so they'll be keeping an eye on it. We heard from McEwen in one of the interviews that when the wind switched around during one of the races, it really threw off his rhythm. He made a couple of mistakes until he worked it out that, hey, the wind's changed direction, need to adjust my driving to that as well. So that's definitely something that plays a role. Once you get into that higher level of Gran Turismo, that's the sort of sensitivity that these drivers have to the conditions, and they'll have to adapt. So we'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the race if that does switch around, because it certainly can change the results.
Certainly can, and this is what it takes to be a national and international level champion. You've got to be able to adjust to everything that these simulator platforms will throw at you, weather included, in some cases altitude included. This battle that we're seeing on screen now for second position, Gareth Collier leading Simon Bishop, is getting closer and closer. The gap now down to only 0.7 of a second. So these two are going to be locked in a battle very, very soon. Now within slipstream range, and Simon Bishop will be looking for the opportunities to push that overtake button and get himself elevated up into P2 in this race. So critical moments here for both of them. Gareth Collier, of course, looking forward to seeing him get an even better result. We saw his pace through practice and the pre-season, Matt. He's absolutely onto it. And these SF23s, as you mentioned before, some drivers love them. And I think Gareth Collier may be a fan. He's certainly quicker than that's for sure.
Looking strong, isn't he? Up in second place after the sort of hectic opening couple of laps. He's settled into it, getting chased down by Simon, who's another driver who's looking strong. Simon was actually talking about how he didn't think he would do too well in these cars. Qualified in 7th, but has slowly been moving forward up into 3rd now, and this is where he's in that sort of dirty air slipstream range. Gets through the corner, that's going to hurt him in the corner, but now out onto the straight, he'll be grateful for it. He'll got to carry extra speed here up through Eau Rouge. Watch this is flat out in a Super Formula car. Reasonably easy to take these corners here on Gran Turismo in these cars. They've got so much downforce. They just cruise through there, and then he uses that slipstream. Look at the extra speed he's got, closing the gap up now. Is he going to get close enough to make a move, though? With that extra speed, pulls out of the lane, defensive driving from Dive Cable, and Bishop wasn't quite able to close in. So as long as that straight is, I think it's 1 kilometer long, still not long enough for Simon Bishop to get the move done there.
Still hoping to see a Häkkinen-Schumacher moment out on track with 2 Super Formulas going left and right around the back marker, but so far no one far enough behind in this race, of course due to the level of the competition that we have in the GTNZC. But a close one there for Simon Bishop and Gareth Collier. It's the only thing you can do, as I believe we've had a crash from Big Head Ted, seeing that on the alternate screen at the moment, so he's going to lose some positions as well. And is it Jackie X corner again for Big Head Ted, Matt? I think you caught that, didn't you?
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out because the different names that the corners have been changed. Yeah, he got wide there. I think he might have even clipped the inside curve, but he ended up wide, and that's what got him loose. So Big Head Ted lost a couple of spots in the process with that bit of a spin, and he's picked up damage, so he'll be slow for a few corners now until that resets.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, of course, light damage model, light, not heavy. Heavy means in Gran Turismo, heavy means that you need a pit to repair the damage. For this championship, we've decided to go with the light model, and that means that you essentially have your repair done on the fly, as if you've got a virtual pit crew fixing the car while you're still driving, which is a very good little system to be able to enable for a series like this. Through La Source we go once again onto lap 12. McEwen's gap continues to extend, but Gareth Collier is keeping him on, as both of these drivers having some really good lap times. Noticing also that Scotty Ray and Atom are going to be getting closer and closer on track as well, so we'll get some updates from around the field shortly. In fact, there we go. Right now we're moving the camera already. Scotty Ray in 4th, followed by Tom England in 5th. GT World Series driver behind you, both Gareth Collier and Scott Greenless, going to be feeling that pressure at the moment.
Absolutely right. I mean, that's one of the cool aspects of this series, right? Is you are up against the best. You know exactly who Tom England is. You know he's been racing at the international level, representing New Zealand at those World Series events alongside McEwen, alongside Simon Bishop. So you're testing yourself against the best. Can you stand up to the pressure? This is definitely one of those moments where when I was driving myself, you know, I'd start to sweat a little bit more when you see a name like Tom England come up, because you know how good he is. You can't expect him to make a mistake and drop off at any moment. You know, he's going to apply that pressure. He's going to be consistent. He's going to be quick throughout.
Oh, look at that low camera shot. Absolutely love the angles that we get here in Gran Turismo 7. Of course, another shout out. It's time for another shout out. Of course, the New Zealand Sim Racing Collective putting on these nationally recognized esports events alongside New Zealand Esports, and the winner of this series not only gets that real world drive from Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand, but they also get to call themselves the GT New Zealand National Champion. That is a very, very cool title. So these officially sanctioned events coming in here in 2026. A massive thanks, of course, to New Zealand Esports and the New Zealand Sim Racing Collective for enabling that for our sim racing communities here in New Zealand, of which we have many. There's so many drivers getting involved in sim racing these days. It's great to see that we can have a live broadcast and a nationally recognized champion as well. And it's not going to be the only one. Later up in this year, details to be announced. There will be an iRacing national champion as well. Same teams involved. New Zealand Sim Racing Collective, and of course New Zealand Esports. Here we go. It's time for Atom to make the move, and Tom has done it. He's gone to the outside line. Scott has been so good at defending through here. Defends hard. Was there contact? I don't think there was between them, but Scotty holds the inside line beautifully through Lecombe, and then he's actually managed to force Tom to take that inside line as they sweep to the left. It's a great defensive maneuver, and I'm noticing there's a big difference now between their overtake.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to point out as well. Tom has been on it, trying to get the moves done. You can see the red up above the driver's head there, behind the halo. He has used up a lot of it. Not much left in the tank for late in the race. He wanted to get the positions early, get the track position, but Scotty Ray, defensive and hangs on. Great driving. We talked about whether he could step up to the pressure. He has stepped up with that move there. That was nicely done, hanging on to 4th position. And now he's got that boost advantage. I'm sure he'll look in the mirror, see that red on the top of the car behind him, and be aware of it, that he can defend now in future laps if Tom tries to make another move.
That might have been the moment just there. He touched a quarter of his tire onto the grass. That might have been the moment he was looking behind him just to see, oh yeah, okay. Just noting that there's a little red bar atop Tom England's head at the moment. Oh, that's a shallow line for Tom. He's now got to try anything he can to stay within slipstream range. Otherwise, he's going to be really out of luck very, very quickly, and probably falling into Crimson's grip. Because Crimson has been saving overtake as well, might be playing the long game on this one. And this is where this open strategy, Matt, comes into play. We have no idea if these drivers are going to end up saving, trying to stay on the one tire set. They can do that, or they can come into the pits, go to a faster tire set for the end of the race. Tom England with a big slipstream effect. Here we go again. Down the back straight we go. Tom England loses. He pulls out into that wall of air and he loses a bunch of speed. Tucks back in. He's done it this time. Around the outside beautifully. Look at the speed. He held through that corner.
Remarkable. Without using the boost as well. He's fully run out now. The light is turned off and he got the move done and through. And is that Simon Bishop? Oh, he did get through on dive cable earlier, didn't he? So, but they're not far away, are they?
They're not far away, and I think there was just a move there. Dive cable didn't look particularly comfortable for a moment there, and we'll go back and we'll double check. But Brooks Sells, it looks like he may have had some sort of issue through that part of the circuit, because Simon Bishop has absolutely leapfrogged him. Scotty Ray comes back. I mean, two battles going on simultaneously, and we've managed to miss both the overtakes in this latter part, unfortunate as that is. Crimson now making this a three-way battle. Tom is going to be suffering without the use of the overtake, and he may be a candidate, I think, for an early pit stop here on lap 12.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've already seen Clan Fever come in on that racing soft strategy, so he's put softs on again for the second half of the race. You'd want to come in at the halfway point, I would say around now, maybe on the previous lap, if you were going to put the softs on. It does look to be that those mediums will last, but they are going to be hurting at the end of the race, and I think all these drivers, by the looks of it, opting to stay out there. They're all going to be on the same strategy, fight on an equal playing field, but you know, in a few laps' time, the driver who has conserved a little bit early on might be reaping the rewards of saving that tyre.
Yeah, just looking at the tyre life at the moment for Scotty Ray, Tom England, and Crimson, it looks fairly equal. The big difference is going to be on the overtake button at this stage. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching along. These drivers, you won't be able to see the stats here. We hide them on purpose to maintain as fair play in the competition, as the drivers can't go and do what I call the Fernando Alonso and basically watch the TV screen while driving. They're not able to do that, and they only get hidden bits of information from us very, very occasionally that will not impact their decision making at all. But we can tell you that the overtake is the difference between these three cars on your screen right now, and it's going to make a big impact throughout this race. And remind me again, Matt, you may know this, you may not. The overtake does get recharged when you come into the pits.
I don't believe it does. You've got a limited amount throughout the race. So Clan Fever, who has pitted, is now out of overtake because we saw him use it so early on. So you only get, I believe it's about 100 seconds of that boost, and that's all you've got for the whole race. So you've got to distribute it. You've got to think about when you want to use it, and it becomes a real key part of the strategy that helps you get the moves done. In Adam's case, he managed to get past, but then he got passed back, so it makes it hard. He looks like he has pace, and he can use the slipstream, but he can't use the overtake button now that he's used it all up.
So this is critical. So Tom England has used all of his overtake, has a wiggle there. That's not what he wanted. So he has to drive really, really clean. He has to stay within the 1 second. That mistake there is actually seriously significant. It's put him just outside that 1 second range. So Tom England has to drive perfectly to stay in the slipstream of Scotty Ray to elevate himself and keep himself with this P4 battle that we've been witnessing for a number of laps now. If he doesn't manage to do that, he will drop back and he'll be vulnerable to Crimson. So his only defense right now is driving really cleanly and speedily through the infield at Spa. Otherwise, he's going to find himself being dropped by Scotty Ray, who at this point may actually know that he can probably push that overtake button a couple of times and get himself completely away from Tom England, though at this stage seems to be saving it for anything that happens later in the race. So we'll return to that battle at some point soon, but we're also noting that Simon Bishop is running low on overtake as well.
Yes, he's got a little bit less than dive cable behind him, so Simon aggressive early. You see again that red hoop, the red light, dive cable there with the green. A brilliant example of the difference there. So dive cable still got more left. He's nearly 2 seconds behind, so he's a little bit back. But if he can have a strong rest of this race, strong few laps and get close, that will be the advantage he needs to get an overtake done. So I think he's too far back at the moment. So it is going to be a case of he needs to drive well. It's not just going to be the car that can get him past, but it will help him if he can get there.
Indeed, and now switching to the rest of the field, we've got Sly Ben, that's Ben Groves in P7, followed by Reese Davidson behind him by some distance. Unfortunately, those little mistakes have kept creeping in, and Big Ed Ted's rear tires are relatively worn out. I wonder why. I wonder if it's his driving style. I wonder if he likes to be a little bit loose on the grip, or whether he's had a few little mistakes throughout the laps. I think maybe a combination of all of them. Nonetheless, Big Ed Ted holding on to 8th at the moment. Quite a dramatic distance between some of these drivers at the back of the field. Lewis Atkinson holding on to 9th with Amit Biswas here in P10. He's about 4.5 seconds ahead of Alex Little. And then, of course, Clam Fever, who started on the soft tyres and has moved to the soft tyres once again, hoping to close up that 10.5 second gap in the remaining 7 laps of this race. So it does go by very, very quickly, these rounds here. 21 laps, though, 2 minutes a lap, essentially. Does take a little bit of time to get around race 1. Of course, remember, we have race 2 coming up for you afterwards. We'll be jumping into the Lexus RCF 2014 cars and going to our lovely French destination of Alsace. 50% of people like it, and 50% of people do not like it. So we'll see what happens in that round.
Of course, switching over to the road cars as well, that it's going to be a big mental swap. There was a lot of discussion about the 2-race format heading into this one from the drivers, talking about wanting to go from the lesser gripped cars to the higher grip car in the second race. Of course, tonight it's the opposite of that, so they'll have to really make sure they tone it down, going from so much downforce here in the Super Formula cars to basically a Lexus road car will be in race 2. So it's a challenge out there, and that's part of the beauty of this championship is you have to be able to master all these different combinations of race car and road cars and all these different tracks as well.
Exactly right, and in other championships, in other platforms, you often find yourself with one car. It's the track that changes more. In the Gran Turismo 7, we have the opportunity to change the car track combination so substantially, and modify the tire life, and modify the fuel life, and modify the weather substantially. So there's so many variables that can go into it, and that's the definition of being a Gran Turismo international driver, and certainly a New Zealand champion, is you've got to be able to drive absolutely everything in whatever cunning ways the race admins have picked things up in, which is brilliant. It's a good calendar that we've got all around. And of course, next week, the 3rd of August, we'll be taking the Toyota GR010 hypercars to Le Mans. Great combination that. It's going to be more high-paced action. And then we'll be going to Daytona with the Lexus LC 500 2017 cars for a night race at Daytona. So that'll be a particularly spectacular round 4 as well. Do want to say to everyone in chat, welcome in. To those viewing all around the world and in New Zealand, welcome in. Great to have you in here. Let us know where you're viewing. Are you viewing from Christchurch, from Levin, from Auckland, from Stewart Island? Let us know where you're watching from in chat. Had a few people in the chat already, and Den Edit saying, Simon Bishop, my hero in P2. So excellent work there. Simon Bishop has been involved in Gran Turismo at a local and international level for a very long time, and he's going to hate me for saying that.
I mean, you didn't say it explicitly, right? You only just implied certain things that he won't appreciate. Yeah. Exactly. He has, though. He's an absolute expert, isn't he? He is, he's the original New Zealand sort of benchmark. He was the Psy God, they used to call him, because he just performed at such a high level that no one else could really work out what was going on. It was, the original gaming insult of calling him a bot. He can't be real. He's too perfect to be real. He was driving so well. And, he's almost sort of handed that baton over to McEwen now, who is the current New Zealand leading light. Really, he is the champion, and he is again out there today. We haven't looked at him too much because he's just so far ahead at the moment and really dominant in this series so far.
There we go. It's the curse of competence in terms of broadcast and camera time. The better you are, the less camera time you get, unfortunately, in many series. Some are closer than others. Some like this, where McEwen has been so dominant so far. 3 wins to his name out of 4 races that we've had. It was only the Yaris's where it all came a little bit unstuck for him. Just reading the chat here, we've got Not That Garden from Hutt Valley. We've got Sparky PN from Palmerston North, the centre of motorsport, that is for sure. Den Edit's actually saying, tell it how it is. The bold old fella. Well, now I'm definitely going to get hit up by Simon Bishop after this race. We've got Josh Kirchhoff watching from Timaru in the South Island. Fantastic to have you all in here. And not that guy. Everyone's agreeing. They all want me to call out Simon Bishop. Well, I think I've said enough for tonight. I will let you throw Simon Bishop further under the bus. So if you so feel.
No, there's a couple of things I've been explicitly told I cannot reveal about Simon Bishop. So I'll just try and stop myself from jumping on that bandwagon.
Exactly. Yeah, we've had enough buses to be thrown under today already in the stream so far. So we are looking to get ourselves back on track, so to speak, and keep ourselves as professional as possible while having the maximum amount of fun. But hopefully you're all enjoying watching here on the New Zealand Sim Racing TV YouTube channel. The GT New Zealand Championship continues. 4 laps to go. We're just coming up to 3 laps remaining in this first race of the evening here at round 3. And I'll tell you what, once we get up to the end of this round, it will be marking the halfway point of 6 rounds to crown GT's first New Zealand champion here. A officially sanctioned New Zealand's esports event, supported and organised by New Zealand Sim Racing Collective, sponsored, of course, by Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand, and the likes of TrackSpotTV and Hectic Motorsport News also involved alongside Hooncorp E-Sports administering the series. Which has been absolutely fantastic to see that we've got such participation from the communities in this series. Hooncorp, of course, being one of the larger leagues out there in New Zealand, and not only in sim racing world, but also in the real motorsports world, which is what this is all about. You're not just going for the title today or this season, you are also going for that real world drive that Toyota GAZOO Racing are providing. So let us know in the chat who your favorite driver is. Who do you fancy to be the champion this season? And,
oh my gosh, we've lost Simon. Simon Bishop spun. He's just dropped right down the order. And
there he is.
He got back on track. There, he's got back on track in 5th place. Big moment from 2nd place to drop down the order, and he was by himself. So he's done that one by himself. And it's all gone wrong.
My goodness. Okay, huge switch up in this race. We were in the sort of final part where everyone has cooled down. They've found their place to be, and we might even be able to bring that up on a replay because we were looking elsewhere. And Simon Bishop has self-inflicted a massive error onto himself and fallen to 5th position.
I believe we've got the replay, but we only catch the end of it. So if we just have a little quick look at that, we'll catch the end of it here. He's gone off in the grass, facing the wrong direction. He had to reverse to get back going. And look at this. It just cost him so much time as the drivers come past.
He couldn't get it flipped around when he got back onto the tarmac as well, so he had to take the grass. That's what's dropped him a couple of those positions. So a huge switch up on lap 19 of this race, ladies and gentlemen. Gareth Collier finds himself in P2 now with Scotty Ray behind him by some distance. Atom is now staring down the potential to get himself into 3rd and back onto the podium for race 1, which is a massive change. Bear in mind, he's still running with no overtake left. Scotty Ray still got that overtake, and Simon Bishop is now 2.8 seconds behind Tom England. This could be a mighty battle for that podium position in 3rd.
The race is on now, isn't it? So that's our 2nd place in the championship. Simon Bishop, who's had that spin. 3rd place, Dive Cable now inherits 2nd in the race, so he's going to pick up extra points. But how much of a recovery can Simon make? Can he close that gap to try and catch up to Tom, who you have to say, Tom has been looking strong through this phase of the race. We keep talking about how he doesn't have any extra overtake left, but he's still keeping the pressure on Scotty. And Scotty's still holding up to that pressure, to his credit.
This is a bit miraculous. I mean, I don't quite know how Tom England is doing it. The raw natural talent is kicking in for Tom England, and he is holding on to Scotty Ray with a white knuckle grip at the moment. I mean, I've driven these cars, I've run out of overtake, and I've ended up dead last. By some margin, I will add. When you run out of overtake, you really suddenly lose any option of attacking or defending, and yet we see here Tom England keeping himself within attacking range of Scotty Ray. One small mistake here and Scotty will absolutely lose out. And yeah, the gap only coming down by 0.1 of a second between Tom and Simon Bishop throughout that section. So absolutely brilliant driving from Tom England to hold on. I can't explain it.
I think what we're seeing now is those drivers who have prepared for the tyre wear. Simon was talking about maybe not doing enough practice for this race. I think maybe he wasn't quite ready for the loss of grip, because now they are really at that point of the race where they are struggling on these mediums. They've been running these mediums since the start. You can even see it a little bit on the screen there. The tyres looking grainy, you know, they're not that smooth surface that they had at the start of the race. There's definitely a lot of wear going on, and being able to handle that, being able to control the entry, control how aggressive you turn into these corners while still maintaining pace, that's a skill set all in its own.
Certainly is, and that's the exact corner where Tom was able to make an overtake initially on Scotty Ray. He held so much apex speed, and that's the skill that's coming in right now. Look at the amount of apex speed he's able to hold. And double apex corner down the hill we go through Malmedy and now into Jackie X corner. Confusing named corner. Not because it's Jackie X, because it used to be called No Name Corner, then it was given the name Speakers Corner, then it was given the name Jackie X Corner. So the corner that was formerly known as No Name Corner and formerly known as the corner called Speakers Corner has had more names given to it than any other corner on this circuit. Through fact as we go, nice run from Atom, a little bit unclean there from Scotty. And this is what's allowing Atom to really come back into his own. And as you said, it's really about whether the drivers are comfortable with the amount of tyres they've got remaining. I mean, we're under 50% for many of these drivers in terms of their tyre life.
Oh yeah, I think we're well past 50% for a lot of them, so they'd definitely be feeling it. They definitely have to adjust. I've been impressed that their lap times haven't come down too much, but maybe a second a lap slower through this last part of the race now, and whether you can hang on to it, that is close between these leading bunch, so how you drive it, and it looks like Scotty is continuing to be under pressure. He saved a lot of boost to this last lap. It is the last lap though, and he can deploy it. Will he go for it out of the first corner?
I tell you what, if you end this race with overtake in your tank or even fuel in your tank, you have not used it to the absolute maximum. So I do see a couple of blips on the overtake there. This might be the death knell for Atom's chances at getting into third position. We are on the final lap of this race, and our glorious league administrator, Nathan Howe from Hooncorp E-Sports, has jumped into the chat and said, there's still time for a torrential downpour to mix things up. Right? I think that time may have come and may have gone, unfortunately, but it was nice to see the start of the race on those damp conditions. Let's check in with Matt McEwen at the front. 24 seconds is the gap. Matt, that is impressive.
He has just gone for it, hasn't he? He got through that first lap after qualifying on pole and has not looked back. He's been so clean, so clinical throughout as he was in the previous round. And that is quite the margin to put over the rest of the field.
It certainly is. He's used the last bit of overtake. The light above his head goes out. No more ideas required. Only a couple of corners remaining as he fires his way down into the braking zone. Bus stop chicane. Few meters to go. Matt McEwen, from the start of this race, he escaped. He stayed in the lead. He stayed cool. He stayed calm. And he's taken the checkered flag again. Beautiful run from Matt McEwen. And that'll be his 4th win out of 5 races in this series. Dive cable, Gareth Collier. What a race. He's been similarly out of the cameras for most of the race because he's been having a quiet one, happily chugging along at the top of the field. Yes, he's 25 seconds down on Matt McEwen, but he's 4.2 ahead of Scotty Ray and across the line for second place for Gareth Collier. Excellent work, and he's absolutely stoked. Scotty Ray will hang on at the end. He's got overtaken the tank. Tut, tut, tut. But 4th place for Atom, and Simon Bishop finds himself in 5th. What could have been for Simon Bishop? That's critical for him in the championship standings. I tell you what, because he is going to drop away from Matt McEwen even more than he has done already.
Absolutely right. That could be a swing there for 3rd place as well, with Gareth up in 2nd in that race. So an unfortunate one, a self sort of inflicted wound there for Simon as he made that mistake on his own on those worn tyres, which dropped him down to 5th.
Yes, indeed. All right, the last car coming around the corner, so we'll go to our results screen in a few moments' time. But what a race from Matt McEwen. Manages to take even more points yet again in this series. And is he going to be stopped? Is he going to have a competitor that can keep up with him in this championship? We shall find out very, very soon, because race 2 coming up in a not too long. Here are the final results from the race. Fastest lap going to Matt McEwen as well, a 151.4 clean air all the way through his race of 39 minutes. Gareth Collier in P2, followed by Scotty Ray, who takes one of his first podiums of the season. So great to see there. Tom England in 4th place, used that overtake very quickly in the early parts of the race, held on beautifully to Scotty all the way through what could have been if he had just a little bit more overtake throughout the race. Simon Bishop, the mistake on lap 19 of 21, finds himself falling to 5th. Ben Groves in 6th place, followed by Crimson, who started P2 and fell all the way through the field, unfortunately. Big Ed Ted finds himself in 8th overall. Then it is Lewis Atkinson, followed by Amit Biswas, Alex Little, and last place Clam Fever, with the only driver, I believe, to take a pit stop in this race. Started on the softs, thought he could gain an advantage. He had a few moments in those opening laps, and unfortunately that really cost him in this race. Matt, that was a good race. I love these Super Formula cars at Spa. It is absolutely brilliant. Summarize that race for us.
Well, dominant from McEwen again. The first round, it looked like we might have a fight on our hands, but since round 2, he has just been a step above everyone else, and the gap there, 25 seconds? That is huge. Best lap, 2.5 seconds clear of the rest of the field, so that is dominant. But in behind him, we had a great race between some of these drivers, didn't we? Simon Bishop and Dive Cable had a good battle. Unfortunately for Simon, came unstuck with his mistake there. Scotty Ray and Adam in a good battle as well. Great result for Scotty to get himself on the podium here in the National Championship, so well done to him. Adam, a strong performance. He said he liked these cars, and it showed, but he did use that boost early. Gave us a story to follow, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did, and exciting racing towards the end of this. All right, well, we're going to be on a break in a few moments' time, but coming up very soon, the Lexus RCFs at Alsace Village for 15 laps. It's a complicated circuit, this one. We'll run you all through it in a few moments' time. For now, folks, go and grab yourself a nice cold drink, and we will see you back here in a few minutes' time. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the GT New Zealand Championship. A short intermission there for us as we're going to get going for race 2 in a few minutes' time. Before then, a few things for us to chat through. But race 2, going to be an exciting one. We're in the commercial cars now. We're back into the commercial area, Matt, and sports medium tyres. Big Head Ted must be a happy man.
Oh, I can only imagine so. As they get out there, get practicing, he's looking comfortable, he's looking in his element. And so far this season, he really has performed in these road cars as we've expected from him.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, to come back to our sponsors once again, first place gets a real world race drive at the end of the season. The New Zealand Championship crown will be going to them as an officially sanctioned NZ Esports and New Zealand Sim Racing Collective event, this one. And of course, Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand providing that real world drive experience, putting their racecraft to test away from the simulator. The hectic race moment as well, hectic motorsport. So let us know what your hectic moment is of the race so far in the SF23s. Plenty more to come, because Alsace is a very, very interesting race to go driving at, especially in these cars, especially with the tires that we put on them for this. And of course, big thanks to those in the organizational seat: NZ Sim Racing Collective, Hooncorp E-Sports, TrackSpotTV, and Hectic Motorsport. Massive thanks to all of them. Let's talk about another driver who's come back to the grid this time. It is, of course, Lewis Atkinson, 20-year-old from Auckland. He's been involved in the 2023 and 2024 NZERS. So he's been here and done that a few times, and he's just come back from the BMX World Champs in Australia.
He has, so he's a top competitor in the BMX, representing New Zealand over there, so awesome to see that he was able to do that. Unfortunately, did mean he missed the previous round, and that might interrupt his streak of getting second places in the championship in both 2023 and 2024. So unfortunately, he's lost a few points towards that recovery or towards the repeat here in 2026, but certainly a top driver, and also a bit of the life of the party when we get to the LAN events as well. This is a top bloke that everyone loves to have amongst our community when we do get to those in-person events as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And he's been a staple of the GT community and wider, of course, the sim racing community in general, a well-known name, and does drive for Hooncorp E-Sports. He's led a number of their teams in a number of leagues as well, and it is great to have him back on track for this one. Right, qualifying is beginning, and we're going to go out on track. These cars are going to be fascinating, so we'll see you out there on track. Well, here we go. And this track itself, Alsace, is a very unique one. It is here in GD7, great to see. In France, of course, 5.423 kilometers, 17 corners, and 57.3 meters of elevation change. The longest straight is 450 meters long. It is not a short track, and it is a very complex track. Luckily, though, Matt, it's quite wide, so should be a lot of overtaking opportunities for the drivers today.
Is wide for the most part, and I think that elevation change is really the key in this circuit. You can see it in here. They're already coming down to this braking zone, dips through the apex, then they bounce out the other side, and then later in the lap there's a really steep uphill and then downhill section that makes it difficult in the braking zone to get right. Again through here, look at them, sliding so much more in these cars now. All these drivers coming out and qualifying next to each other is a bold decision. I think if I was out there, I'd definitely be looking for space, and I'm sure that McEwen's done that again, as we've seen throughout the season.
Yeah, almost certainly. In fact, we can look on the track map. There is one car that is not side by side with another one. That is probably Matt right there. But yeah, here we are in these commercial cars. They're totally different to what we've gone through just beforehand. And Dive Cable leading us away, sliding through those opening corners. This, of course, is a naturally aspirated V8 5,000cc engine. It's got 469 brake horsepower to it. 54 kilograms of force per meter for torque. It's front-engined, rear-wheel drive, so really fun for those that really want to go for it and get loose. As you can see, Gareth Collier right here, absolutely oversteering, counter-steering, all of the steering to try and keep this thing going in the direction he wants. It is 1.8 tons of machinery, Matt, with a top speed of actually 370 kilometers an hour. These things are not slow. They are not light. So it's basically the polar opposite of what we've had with the Super Formulas.
No, it absolutely is. And they don't have the grip of the Super Formulas. The Super Formula is all about that high downforce, high speed through the corners. These things, you're sliding them around, that weight sort of transfers as it goes through the corner, and you can see him getting loose. It was a great shot of Gareth struggling on the steering wheel to get it under control as he did go through that massive elevation change. We get a look on board as well to see what he does. I love getting these driver cams going because we see how they tackle it much smoother through this part of the track where we have the wider open corners. This is the dip in the track that I was talking about on the last lap, where they come in here, dip on that apex, try and get the power down on the exit. Ooh, on the limit of the curve there, on the limit of the grip, he had to counter steer to control it, but sometimes that is the fastest way. You want to slide them a little bit to get around the circuit. It's actually an interesting fact that I learned recently is that Gran Turismo banned the use of the handbrake in the online mode, in the competitive online mode, because in some of these road cars, you know, you do actually want to slide them to get the fastest around the track. Not this car in particular, but some of the road cars like this, the sliding is such an impact that the drivers were pulling the handbrake in order to get a faster lap time. So it's just some of the quirks of the physics that they do deal with in these racing games, and all these drivers optimizing to that level that they're trying to figure out exactly how much sliding they need to use to get the fastest lap time.
Not gonna lie, I have done that, but not for the same reasons. Not to be quick, just because it's a lot of fun to drive these cars, or cars like them, basically sideways, which is, it's just, I mean, it's a great simulator when you get down to it. You can have as much fun as you want, do things in cars you couldn't possibly imagine. For me, mostly crashing, but I was having a lot of fun. We are getting geared up here for a push lap for Big Head Ted. This is definitely someone, we've had it in the chat as well, SparkyPN has requested this, and we don't often acquiesce to chat requests, but this is going to be a fun lap on board with Big Head Ted. Matt, take it away, Big Head Ted, and a full lap of Alsace.
So he starts the lap here down into turn number 1. He's just done a valid lap, but it wasn't particularly quick, so maybe just setting himself up here for lap number 2. Through turn 1, gets through there nice and smoothly, and tries to get the power down on the exit. Sometimes you're shifting up early on the exit so that you don't have to do the shift while you're on the power. There's sort of slower gearboxes in the road cars, very wide through that sweeping left-hander. Compromises the entry for the right-hander, and that's what's going to set him off sideways. Gets the slide on. Whether he's worked out that maybe that is the optimal way to do it, just keep it tight through the left-hander. But again, now another sweeping corner that you've got to try and carry the momentum through out onto the exit. Use all the road here. That's nicely done, right up next to the grass. Get it back across to the left. It's not a particularly quick first sector for Big Head Ted, as again he's sliding, and I wonder if maybe he's just sliding a little bit too much, because that's going to be slow on the exit there as they now set up little bit of a run before they get through the right-hander, flat out there, and then on the brakes, and again that elevation, look at that, the downhill turn in, he gets sideways, catches it as we've come to expect. Oh, uses a bit too much of the road on the exit, and then the banking. This is just such a unique track where they really incorporate all the different aspects. You can carry the speed through there as the banking helps you keep the momentum before quickly switching back to the left. Got to be quick on the steering wheel to make sure you get the line right through there. And then this one, difficult braking zone. You're trying to brake and turn at the same time. He's opted to use a lot of curb. The driver in front of him taking a somewhat different line through that corner. And then this is the true big elevation change. Into the left-hander, straight up this hill. Look at that. They're just going straight up into the sky, up over the rise. And then they're going to face back downhill again into another big braking zone where you kind of want to be on the steering wheel as well, but you've got to straighten it out to try and carry the speed. He's got too much speed in there. He wanted to be late on the brakes. He wants to push on this lap, but maybe he's just over driving a little bit. We'll see what the lap time tells us, because he has caught the driver in front of him. But how is the pace overall? Up into third place, only 3/10 off. That was a good lap, despite how sideways he was getting. It seems to be Big Head Ted does like these road cars and knows how to get speed out of them.
Exactly. Well, and to another small little joke, you might see a particular word on the side of that car there. I've been talking about what kind of Wheat Bix Matt McEwen eats for the breakfast in the morning. It turns out he doesn't really eat Wheat Bix at all, but you know, I'm still interested to find out. Is it just plain Wheat Bix, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of milk? We've got some strawberry jam in there for those weirdos that like to do that? Or is he one of those people that likes to put the peanut butter with the Weet-Bix? Who knows? How do you like your Weet-Bix? Let us know. Matt McEwen sporting the Weet-Bix livery this week and taking pole position so far. We've got 2.5 minutes to go in this qualifying, noting that the lap times are over 2 minutes. We've got 15 laps coming up in this race. Matt's been absolutely onto it. So the qualifying order so far, Matt McEwen only just ahead of Dive Cable at the moment, though setting sector best by nearly 0.2 of a second. Big Ed Ted finds himself up in 3rd position with the exact same lap time, I will add, as Gareth Collier. They've both done a 207.977, which in these cars and at a circuit like this is actually incredible. You probably have a higher chance of winning the lottery. Scotty Ray finds himself in 4th with Alex Little elevating himself up in the 5th. Simon Bishop in 6th position, followed by Amit Biswas in 7th. And then you've got Lewis Atkinson, of course, in 8th position as well. Look at the smile on Matt McEwen's face as he barrels through that long sweeping turn 8 corner. It's good fun out there in these cars. I'm actually really jealous.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been saying from the commentary box, right? It looks like fun, but McEwen was saying he's not looking forward to Alsace. He's not particularly looking forward to this track, but he's smiling out there. He's enjoying it. He might be on the radio. Yeah, you can see he's chatting to someone as he's driving around there as well. So cool to see that they're having fun with this series, enjoying being out on track, because I mean, everyone who gets amongst it, right? We all love motorsport. We all enjoy driving, and he is just one of the drivers who absolutely has figured it out and nailed it. As Big Head Ted improved, so both of Big Head Ted, both the drivers who had the exact same time there improved, but it was Big Head Ted by the slightly faster margin up into 2nd. See if McEwen managed to hang on through the final sector. A mistake from someone behind him into the fence. He improves by the smallest margin.
By about 3/1000ths of a second improvement. It looked like it was really good. The first sector was nearly 0.2 of a second. Unfortunately, he was not able to get any closer this time. So Scotty Ray finds himself in 3rd position now. Big Ed Ted improved, Dive Cable improved, and there is now less than 0.5 of a second separating the top 4. Dive Cable's done. That's it. He's done for his qualifying. So can Alex Little pull something out of his hat? He's sitting about 0.4 of a second behind Dive Cable at the moment. These top 4 separated by very, very little on track. This will be a fascinating opening to this 15-lap race coming up in no time at all. Alsace is going to be absolutely wild. I've driven these tracks in a couple of the older spec cars that you can get in Gran Turismo 7, and it is loose, it is fun, and these cars look absolutely no different to that at all. Heavy cars, heavy braking zones, precision absolutely required. Final laps now being done as we tick over the 10-minute marker. What can Scotty Ray do? McEwen has gone for another lap. These drivers don't have to worry about overtake buttons or anything else. They also don't have any aero parts on these cars either. Close to the wall for Scotty Ray. He's down by 9/1000ths of a second into this heavy braking zone at turn 11, and now up the hill and round the left-hand corner for 12 in a few moments' time. Big Head Ted's still on that lap too. So is McEwen. So is Alex Little. Top 5 separated by less than a couple of tenths. Through we go. Coming up to the last couple of quarters. This is so tricky through 16 and 17. Watch the braking for Scotty as he barrels into this sector. He's got to open up that corner as much as possible, swing it to the right-hand side, and then swing it back. It's a little bit slow, a little bit hesitant. Not sure what the car's going to do. Big Head Ted goes to the top and out-qualifies Matt McEwen. No improvement from Scotty Ray. Matt is still on a lap. Will he improve? He's got to make up over a tenth. Big Head Ted shows us he's got the counter-steering skills. Will it be Weet-Bix or drifts? Oh, it's Weet-Bix again by 15,000ths of a second. Absolutely nothing in it. And Big Head Ted, for the shortest, briefest moment, thought he had taken pole position here at Alsace, but it's not to be. And McEwen takes another pole position to his name. Brilliant, brilliant work by the drivers out there.
Remarkable. 0.015 after a 2-minute 7-second lap. That is unbelievably close between the top 2. And it looked like McEwen had it all sewn up, but it turns out he needed that final lap. He was right to keep pushing right to the end because Big Head Ted was right there with him.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, and especially the kids as well. If you want to drive fast, make sure you eat Weet-Bix. We are not sponsored by Weet-Bix. Disclaimers out there. We are not sponsored by Weet-Bix.
Weet-Bix kids. Kiwi kids are Weet-Bix kids. That's what they say, right? There we go.
There we go. Oh dear, oh dear. We're just waiting for the session to end and we'll get our results up in a few moments' time. Nothing in it at the top of the field. The qualifying for Alsace. If the race is even half as exciting as the qualifying, we are in for an amazing 15 laps of racing here for the second race of round 3. Here are the results up on your screen. 15 thousandths of a second is the gap between McEwen and Rhys Davidson. Scotty Greenless in 3rd position will line up next to Gareth Collier. Then Alex Little qualifies in 5th position. He'll line up with Simon Bishop in 6th. Then it is Amit Biswas in 7th ahead of Lewis Atkinson, just over a second below the top time there of Matt McEwen's. And then it is Ben Groves in P9 with Clan Fever in 10th. Atom returning to the cars that he probably doesn't favor as much, finds himself in 11th with Crimson in 12th, rounding out the grid. Whoa. Matt, we're in for quite the round here at Alsace. We are going to want to know, how do the drivers attack this? There's no real strategy involved. It's a flat-out straight shoot on the sports medium tires for 15 laps. So what do you do in this situation?
You just have to lock in, focus. You've done the practice at this point. There's not really anything more to it than just putting your best foot forward, see what you can do. I think particularly on this first lap, keep it tidy, keep it clean. Try and look for an opportunity. I think there will be drivers sliding around. We will see that side-by-side action. So look for the opportunities, but just be sensible about it. We saw the mistakes in the previous race in the Super Formula cars. So you don't want to be one of those guys because you can still push through later in the race. It's quite a long one here, so there's time to come through later. Indeed.
Well, we'll be going to track in a few moments' time. Ladies and gentlemen, get buckled in, get ready, make sure you've got your drinks because we're about to go to race 2. 15 laps at Alsace starts shortly. Matt McEwen on pole position. This will be interesting off the line as well. We'll see you out there on track. Oh, and the horns are going. Okay, a little known feature in GT7 is that the commercial cars have horns. They will be getting used, unfortunately, by the drivers. 5 lights are on. Round 3 at Alsace begins right now, and off the line we go. It's actually a very good start for Big Head Ted. Matt McEwen's going to have to cover him off early on as we head into turn 1, the sweeping right-hander, and then up the hill sideways for Matt McEwen. That's not optimal at all. He won't get the drive off the corner that he's looking for, so Big Head Ted right in this one. There's a melee happening behind him as well as Dive Cable defends from Scotty Ray with Simon Bishop up a position already. Lewis up 4 positions in this race already. Big Head Ted attacking the outside line, coming in towards 3. Simon Bishop will be attacking Scotty Ray. There's a little bit of bumper cars happening and Bishop's been hit. Little goes up and through. Bishop starts to fall down. Ben Groves moves up as a position. Amit Biswas holds on to P8 for now, and now Dive Cable going to be looking to defend against Scotty Ray as we fly through turn 4, the sweeping long left-hander, and now into the braking zone of 5. This is where the drivers have been running across that apex. Matt McEwen still holds on beautifully. A tight line there for Rhys Davidson. We'll give him the run off the line side by side in the background for P9 and P10 as well. So the top 3 going for it. Gareth Collier is going to have to do a lot of work to hold off Scotty Ray in this one. Matt McEwen building the gap as much as he possibly can. What can Rhys Davidson do on this first lap of the race? My goodness.
Well, it was a remarkable turn 1, wasn't it, when they hit it in there side by side. McEwen around the outside, sideways, still kept the momentum. That was a prime example of the different driving style required in these cars compared to the previous race. You can get the cars out sideways and still keep the momentum inside the car, as Ted is locked in this battle to try and hang on to second now. He looked strong for the first half of the lap, but now he's having to defend, and McEwen's opening up that gap.
There's cars all over the place at the exit of turn 11. Cars off the track, cars not on the track quite. They're all sorts of on the track, and they're off the track there as well as they head up the hill. So chaos through turn 11. Now towards the finishing part of the lap. Yes, we haven't even finished 1 lap of this race as yet. And I believe Crimson and a number of other drivers have been caught up in a rather large incident that we might be able to bring up for replay anytime that we want. But Scotty Ray, it's a hit of the barrier. I think that was Ben Groves. He'll now be under a lot of pressure. No, it was actually Alex Little that hit the wall there. So real trouble for the guys in 6th position now as they all go side by side through turn 1. We've finally completed 1 lap of racing, and it's going to be hectic racing all the way through. I get the feeling the hectic moment's going to come from this race. Sly Ben has managed to keep himself ahead, so Ben Groves leading Lewis Atkinson, leading Alex Little, a 3-way pack of drivers, all absolutely going for it, and there's all action happening at the top as well. Scotty Ray is attacking or being attacked by Dive Cable. These two go side by side as well. Matt, I can't keep up with it at all.
There's a lot going on, isn't it? It's just so close between these cars. There's nothing in it. Whereas as soon as they get side by side, one car gets loose and the other one overtakes. Looking at the Hooncorp boys racing as there's Little in the background, wants to go down the inside. He's one of the drivers who seem to struggle in those Super Formula high downforce cars. Coming alive now here in these road cars. Little on the back, looking aggressive. Can he find a way through? Not on this corner. Follows Lewis through. But is he going to think about lining something up on the exit? Lewis has to look forward and back at this moment. Hardest thing to do as a driver. Looking forward at the time being as he thinks about going around the outside. Going to be tough to do on the banking. And he's again in that position where he's got to look forward and back and have all the pressure on in the middle of this burger.
Wow. There we go. So Ben Grove still leading. Some personal best being set as we head now yet again into turn 11. Simon Bishop. Oh, and sideways for Lewis Atkinson. He's been tapped as well. Burnout is a counter steer as well. That set the car with a bit of a tank slab in the opposite direction. That's a couple of positions he'll lose from that one as on goes through Amit Biswas, or nearly does. Getting a little bit loose there. The orange car just behind the number 2. So keep an eye on that. Simon Bishop has been locked in the battle with Scotty Ray up ahead. So Scotty Ray falling off the back of Dive Cable, Gareth Collier at the moment. And I tell you what, this top 3, McEwen has not separated himself at all. Bigger Ted finally free from the grasps of 4 drivers trying to take 2nd position. Now finds himself in the box seat. Matt McEwen going sideways again as we head on to the 3rd lap of this race.
And he's kept the momentum on the exit there, hasn't he? So that might have even been intentional. It looked like he was out of control, slid through turn 1. But that's what I was talking about. It's so impressive that he's able to adjust his driving style from the Super Formula to then be pulling that sort of move here in the Lexus, keeping the speed up. He is going to come under pressure because Big Head Ted is looking strong in this race. But Matt McEwen, I mean, all of these top guys just adapting the different driving style between the 2 races that are so close together.
Through 4, now heading towards turn 5, big braking zone this one. And you got to turn the car in and really try and grab that apex, but you've got to be careful because it's an even corner. Oh, Big Ed Ted does not do particularly well through there. Catches that exact bit that I was referencing. Bit of commentator's curse there, if I might say so myself. Swing it back to the right-hand side. And now into this sweeping section, Matt, turn 7, so difficult. Although the camera is mostly helping the drivers, but I don't really know how much it's going to help with the sports mediums.
No, to that previous corner, it's definitely tough to do, and it's tough to judge how much speed you could carry on the exit and try and use all the road. So easy to get it wrong is judging the edge of the road. Big Ed Ted having a moment there. That banking through that particular corner definitely helps you. It's so nice going through there. You carry so much more speed than it would be if it was a flat corner. But Big Head Ted making that little mistake, and now again he's the one under pressure rather than applying the pressure.
Wow. And these cars, 1.8 tons, remember, and all these corners are so interlocked that the way that you set up the first corner in a series of them, and we've got the likes of turn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of that is affected by how you dealt with turn 6. So you've got to keep that in mind. Oh, Gareth Collier, that's really awkward from him, and he's ended up sideways. Does collect the car somehow, no damage as well. Still retains 3rd position, but look, Simon Bishop and Scotty Ray flanking him now and looking for that overtake. And into this wonderful turn 1 yet again. Will there be any sideways action? Yes, there is. It's guaranteed at every corner of this track at the moment. Lap 4 of 15. We have gone some distance already in this race. So much happening around the grid. It's McEwen from Reese Davidson, from Gareth Cable, from Scott Greenless, from Simon Bishop in 5th. Ben Groves leading the 2nd battle pack, essentially out on track. Shallow line for Scotty Ray on your main cameras right now, and Gareth is looking like he's struggling with those corner entries just that little bit. Alex Little is up to 7th position with Lewis Atkinson right behind him, so those 3 locked in the battle once again. and these three now battling it out for third position. So a chance to be in the interview seat and a chance for some serious points on the line for these three drivers, with both McEwen and Reese Davidson starting to check out from them.
Yeah, they've opened a little gap again after that dive cable moment. It really slowed down the drivers behind them. They weren't able to get the pass done because it was the narrow part of the track, and that has opened the gaps up at the front. But these three, nothing between them. A little mistake there from Scotty. Got a little bit too loose. Again, touched that grass, but it seems like they're able to pick up that momentum as we see very different lines through that banked corner. I think maybe that was a mistake, taking too much speed there from Simon Bishop. You can sort of approach that slightly differently, but I think Bishop, looking for an alternate line, lost a couple of car lengths by just going so high on the banked corner.
Interesting line choice again from Simon Bishop. He's avoiding that curb on the entry to 11. Most drivers just drive over it, but it does induce some pretty weird momentum within the car because it's bouncing around and you're trying to be under brakes at the same time, which does, it kind of gives the car a feel of it's going to oversteer or snap on you. So Simon Bishop avoiding that entirely, and he's opting for the smooth driving approach. Well, there you go, not anymore. Through these corners, certainly not the smooth driving approach. Gareth Collier going sideways left, sideways right, sideways up, sideways down. He is all over the show at the moment, but still a lot of pace in his car. Big Head Ted runs wide through corner one, so it's fascinating to watch these onboards and see the difference. I do wonder why Simon Bishop is driving so conservatively. Not that it's doing anything here. I mean, he is literally holding on to these guys who are going sideways through most of the other corners.
I wonder if that big spin in the first race plays on his mind as he approaches this one. He knows how easy it is to get loose in these cars, and he doesn't want to be making another mistake like that. He actually jumped in the driver chat after the race and expressed his frustration, shall we say, from that previous race. But his car does look lovely there. Oh my goodness, I've got the words mixed up. The livery looks lovely. There we go. This is actually Simon's running a livery inspired by Shane van Gisbergen. So he's got the speed of the NASCAR on his car. Is that going to help him push forward as the drivers in front of him get loose?
We know that a good livery or a good livery, yeah, I've done it again, and now I'm confused. A good livery is worth about 2 seconds on track. We all know this. So a good looking livery, especially if you put flames on it. So if you're putting the Shane van Gisbergen one, that's probably worth 2.5 maybe. And you got Gareth Collier's, maybe worth 3 seconds. There's definitely some superstition here in the sim racing communities. That is for sure. Simon Bishop side by side now with Scotty Ray and into this braking zone that he's been so conservative into. Will he back out or aim to send a lunge? He's sent the lunge and he's got the inside line. That's a textbook overtake from Simon Bishop.
Beautiful move, and he set it up on that big banked corner. I have to say the NASCAR livery looked very fitting on the banking there. Got side by side. Previous lap, he went for the outside, maybe just testing that out. This time he tests the inside, and it pays off. He gets the pass done. So he'll be noting that as he's so close to the next driver as well. He'll be paying attention to what's working and what not. It seems like he's working it out as he goes on the track, and I suspect we'll see him try and aim for that inside line again through that corner.
Yes, indeed. Oh gosh, I absolutely love this. This is great racing so far. Some chrome on the tires as well for Simon Bishop, and some other chrome cars as well. Nathan Howe reminding us that the Hooncorp cars are clad in it today. So the likes of Ben Groves, likes of Lewis Atkinson, who are actually not too far behind. And I don't know if they're actually catching up. They've made a bit of a gap here to Clan Fever, as it is. I can see he's on the horn. I'll bet you money that's Clan Fever. Yes, it is. It is indeed Clan Fever. Or is it Lewis Atkinson? No, it's Lewis Atkinson. Of course Lewis Atkinson is on the horn. So Lewis Atkinson using the horn button. He might have mapped it to his accelerator today. We shall see as we hear the horn yet again. Watching on board Clan Fever and Supra, Amit Biswas going side by side. This is a tricky section to do this, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like he's just loving being part of this racing at the moment. Getting amongst it. They've actually been going for many laps here. So they're, I think, realizing that they're giving each other enough space to have a good battle. You love to see it between these guys. And we were talking about this track being wide enough to fit the cars, but it's still difficult. You still want to take that racing line to carry the most speed. So you can fit the car, but not necessarily carry the full race pace when you do that.
Yeah, exactly right. A lot of fun being had on the horns today. I keep hearing it. It is very funny. You get that car passing you with glaring horn sort of sound as the cars pass through by the cameras. Great to hear. I love that the drivers are having a lot of fun with this one. We certainly are here in the commentary box, and we hope you are as well, those viewing on the New Zealand Sim Racing TV channel. Of course, this event, the GT New Zealand Championship, it's round 3, the second race of the evening. We were in the Super Formula 23 cars at Spa, the 21-lap open strategy race. Whoa, big snap there for Atom. Wow, is he held on to that? I think he has held on to that, fortunately enough. But of course, sponsored by Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand and New Zealand Esports, and organised by New Zealand Sim Racing Collective, Hooncorp E-Sports, TrackSpotTV and Hectic Motorsport. A great bunch of people to be involved with in the background. So we hope that on the YouTube channel you are enjoying yourselves, because we certainly are. And this race, by the end of it, we will have marked the first half of this series done. Only 6 rounds in total to crown the GT New Zealand champion. Clan Fever having plenty of fun out there at the moment. Fallen slightly away from Amit Biswas. Ben Groves doing well. Is he catching Alex Little? I think he is, but we've got a battle happening up in 4th position, Matt.
Here comes Simon Bishop. He's gone round the outside this time, but a different section of the track. Can he get it done for the inside on the right hand, deep on the brakes? This is where it does get difficult to go side by side. They're going to have to resolve at the crossback from dive cable. This is the racing we love to see. This could be a hectic moment opportunity. Was there contact between them? Thinking about where you want to line this up, I think Simon's gone earlier than I expected him to on this lap, and that has maybe cost him. That's given dive cable the opportunity to come back into this fight, but he should have the inside line for this corner that we talked about. Should be able to get it done, but he runs very deep. Is it going to give dive cable another sniff? It's just, this battle can't be resolved. Maybe it's done now.
No, I don't think it is, because he's wide there again, touches the wall into the braking zone. Gareth might get brave and go dive up the inside. No, thinks better of it, aims for the exit. That's very wide from Simon Bishop. Yeah, they're back together again in this race. It is back and forth racing, the kind that we love to see on any platform. Gareth Collier now runs wide, touches the barrier as well. He's got grass on his tyres, and Simon Bishop will have another opportunity. He's wiggling the car now to try and shake off the grass. I'm not sure if that's in the rule set. We'll see about that later. Shallow line for Simon Bishop. He's going to cut back, or at least attempt it, onto the start-finish line. Gareth is going to go deep. Can he avoid that inside barrier? He does. Brilliant racing, and yet again, and across the line to start lap 8. They are side by side into the braking zone.
And this is why it's so critical to pick your overtaking spot. Because if you don't get the exit speed, the driver behind you has the opportunity to come right back. Continue to see it on the exit of turn number 1. Is there enough overlap? Does dive cable get the room? No, he doesn't. He gets squeezed out by Simon Bishop. Just pulls across and cuts off his nose.
Wow, impressive racing from these guys. I'll tell you what, Scotty Ray right now is getting a real show in front of him. He gets to sit back and just enjoy what he's seeing in front of him, although he definitely wants a piece of the action. He wants to be involved in this one. This is the fight for 3rd position. Both McEwen and Rhys Davidson are checked out. There is a little bit of a gap between them. So right now, McEwen in the box seat for the latter half of this race here at Alsace in France. And these 3 battling for that last podium position, and the honor of jumping into our commentary box as well for an interview after this race. Whoa, moment there for Scotty Ray. I don't know how these drivers stop these cars from going round.
It's remarkable, isn't it, that they just continue to keep catching it. We've seen so many moments today. We've seen so many cars well outside ways. There's going to be some great screenshots taken, some great photos of this race from the replay afterwards, I'm sure, particularly down at turn 1. So many cars getting loose and still keeping the momentum. I mean, look at this. Scotty Ray had that big wiggle. He only lost about a car length there. Continues to fight on.
Indeed. Into the braking zone we go once again. Brave on the brakes from Scotty Ray. Gareth can't do anything against Simon Bishop for the moment. And there we have it. We will be single file once again. Checking down further in the field as well. I know we've got battles all over the place. Clan Fever is now under pressure from Crimson right behind them. So these 2 locked yet again in another battle Amit Biswas has checked out from them in 9th position, so he's managed to get away from Clan Fever as it stands right now. And Tom England, well, we've jumped on board at the worst possible moment for him. It is struggle town, unfortunately, for Tom England. I don't think he enjoys this cars. I don't think he enjoys the track. He was already anxious about this one, I think, based on the interview we had in round 2 with him. So not his night by all accounts, and damage on the car as well.
Yeah, I think this is the case of putting all his eggs in the Super Formula basket. He was enjoying that race much more. Maybe did the practice just for that one. And that's what's tough about this format is, you know, each week we go racing with 2 different combos that you have to be practiced. You have to be up to speed on both of them. It's really a lot of work for these drivers to put in to try and keep up the pace at the pointy end. And that's why it's so impressive that McEwen, no matter the car, is out there, out in front. You know, a lot of these drivers have their strengths and these weaknesses. Like we're seeing Big Head Ted so strong in these road cars, but McEwen just seems to perform in whatever we throw at him.
Exactly right, and it's the consistency of the driving from Matt McEwen that does it. Once he's built that gap at the front, at that point he's really good to go, and he just locks in, does the same laps over and over again. We'll check his timing tower again at some point to see what those lap times do look like. And Big Head Ted, it's also very, very consistent. You know, much more consistent than he's usually able to do in the faster spec cars, though he is extremely quick in those as well. But the consistency at the moment for Matt McEwen is bringing him through and potentially going to be giving him another race win to his name, which will be 5 out of 6 races he will have won in the series, and a substantial amount of points going to his name as well. We are on lap 9 of round 3. Scotty Ray and Gareth Collier battling, and that is creating a big gap for Simon Bishop to run away with, and also bringing Alex Little back into the fray, who played a big part in round 2 as well, did Alex Little. So great to see him involved potentially in this battle in the next couple of laps, side by side, nearly forcing Gareth onto that shallow line entry into the final chicane. Very awkward place to be in these cars.
It's so tough to get through there, and that's the narrowest part of the track with those walls on both sides. You can't afford to get it wrong because you'll really lose a lot of time if you do tap into those walls. And these two battling could cost each other time and could cost each other a position here. Look how close Little is in the background. We know he's got pace with that 2nd place in the previous round. Struggled maybe in the Super Formula car, but now again, look at him. He's dropped down early, but slowly coming back. He's pulled away from the Hooncorp drivers, and now definitely on the back of this battle for 4th and 5th ahead of him. And there's a prime view now of Gareth having to defend and really trying to hold on. Look at the gap that Simon's been able to open up in the last couple of laps.
Well, this is a key thing for those of you who don't know. In sim racing, often being 3rd in a battle is the best place to be, is the top, the 2 drivers ahead of you battle and slow each other down. So as soon as you're off the optimal racing line, you really are going to be going substantially slower. And you can see, even through these corners, some of them Alex Little is taking absolutely beautifully. Some of them maybe not fully optimal, but it's not going to matter because Scotty Ray at the moment can't get past Gareth Collier. Gareth Collier is going defensive, so cutting off that optimal line for Scotty Ray, and that's what's causing them both to be slow out on track. And you can hear the tires squealing as we rip ourselves round turn 8 and back onto the more or less the back straight of this circuit, barreling in now towards turn 11. And Alex Little has got an opportunity. He's going to play it smart though. That's sensible driving from Alex Little. There we go, up the hill again on lap 10. Opportunities coming towards Alex Little, potentially for a 4th place finish. Gareth Collier would have been hoping to hold on to Simon Bishop, but Scotty Ray has shown a lot of pace at this circuit so far. Of course, the tyre degradation for this set to ×1, so these sports mediums tyres will last the entire race. No pit stops required. The fuel is not a problem either. So these drivers can just purely race. Scotty Ray into the wall, and that's going to be the opportunity Alex Little has been looking for.
I just mentioned it on the last lap, didn't I? Don't touch those walls, it'll cost you so much time. And with Little right there, he just goes straight on through, and he's starting to look more and more comfortable. Whoa, Scotty is looking uncomfortable. Another mistake as he tries to recover. That's what sometimes happens though, right? The red mist descends after you make a mistake. You want to make up for your error, and it ends up going wrong again. Thankfully, he hasn't lost too much time, so he can try and push forward, catch back up, and try and go again. But Gareth really is putting on a bit of a masterclass on defense at the moment. Driving into those apexes, taking it nice and slow through the corner where he knows he's not vulnerable, so that he can get the exit pace, and no one could get past. But now that Little's there, he's going to try and catch up and have his shot at getting past Gareth.
And of course, yeah, and the red mist, the frustration that descends on a driver when they're overtaken or miss an overtake or make a mistake themselves, it can be directed to your own self or towards others in some cases. Racing isn't always fair. You know, sometimes you get the elbows out, sometimes you go racing, and this is the kind of combination where that sort of hard racing is pretty much the go-to. And we haven't actually seen some really clean racing given this spec. I mean, I tell you what, if you put me in this lobby, I'd be all over the place causing accidents and causing frustrations. So very good that I'm here in the commentary box alongside you, Matt Smith. I think you'd probably do a little bit better than me on track, given your experience as a racing driver.
I would like to hope so, but I'm grateful that we do have you in the commentary box. You definitely excel here in the commentary booth, and I'm sure everyone tuning in at home as well is enjoying George's perspective. Yeah, because yes, I think it would be a different situation if we were on track.
Yeah, very, very different. People do occasionally say, "Oh, can we get the commentators to have a race?" Well, that did happen a little while back, and let's just say that there was some impressively bad driving out on track, in amongst some very impressively good driving. I was part of the former group, not the latter. But there were no rules, so you know. When in Rome. Nonetheless, on to lap 12 we go through turn 1. Once again, the number 14 car of Alex Little not making a lot of progress at this point. The gap between Bishop and Davidson now out to 2.4 seconds. So it looks like McEwen, unless he makes some big mistakes here, or unless Rhys Davidson can find a second wind in this race, does look like Matt McEwen and the Weet-Bix car is going to be in the box seat. 2:07.7, the fastest lap of the race, set on lap 9. And of course, Rhys Davidson, actually, I got to tell you, Matt, that gap between Rhys Davidson and Simon Bishop is coming down dramatically.
Simon has looked strong in the races tonight, hasn't he? He's qualified, I believe, 7th in both. Was he in 6th, if I can do some quick counting? 6th for this race, and he's just moved forward, chipped away during the race, and now up into 3rd place and looking quick out there. So his fastest lap so far this race coming on lap 10. So he is just adapting and adjusting, learning as he goes, continuing to improve. That is a skill I'm always impressed with the top drivers, is they do manage to find that little bit extra. When you think that they're reaching the maximum, there's just a little bit more. They just follow someone in front of them, or they try a different line. Something works out. And now 1.8 seconds behind with a few laps to go. You know, it's definitely not over here.
Oh, and it's that conservative line he takes through this section here. I think he does have a little bit of that PTSD from the spin in race 1. The SF23 is so brutal when that happens. I mean, you can't catch it. These cars are a little bit different, but at this point, you know, consolidation of 3rd place for Simon Bishop would be a really good way to enter into the second half of the season. You know, he can put the first half behind him, get himself refocused for the races next week, where we're going to be taking the GR010 Toyota hypercars to Le Mans. It's a big race to prepare for. Lots of strategy going to be involved in that one. So for Simon Bishop, 3rd place, and reconciling that and not pushing the car too hard is probably the right way to go. Whereas Rhys Davidson, I can hear the tires screeching ahead. He is absolutely sending it through every single corner that we've got here. 1.8 seconds does seem to be where it's petering out, though, and Simon Bishop has only got 3 laps now to make his attack on Rhys Davidson, who's looked very, very strong this race so far. As I understand it, Alex Little is now also catching Gareth Collier once again, so we'll get our cameramen to point back at that race in a few moments time. Let's see what Simon Bishop can do in the last few laps of this race. Right, around the corner we go, turn 4. We did tell you it's a very complicated circuit, this one here at Alsace Village. 17 corners in total. Turn 4, turn 8, essentially your NASCAR corners, highly banked, very steep, very long. Then you've got a number of very scary corners like 11 involved as well. So keep that in mind. The battle for 4th position raging now. Scotty Ray not able to keep pace with these two. So Alex Little doing very, very well to push Gareth Collier forward and really make him honest in this one. He's going to have to earn that 4th position out there on track. Looking around the grid as well, we've still got a battle going on down in 9th, just after the Hooncorp Esports cars, and that is going to be Amit Biswas versus Lewis Atkinson. Not the first time these two have met out on track.
And again, opting for different lines through that big banked turn, trying to carry as much momentum as they can, try and get the exit speed. A little bit of slipstream here for Amit, tucked in behind. And then to that awkward braking zone. It always looks so clumsy the way they bump over those curbs. Thankfully, we're in these road cars. They can handle a little bit of curb. They do bounce over them, but it does unsettle them as you try and get on the brakes and makes things difficult. So that's why we're seeing some different lines in that braking zone as well. So it's quite interesting. This track is, you know, with such varied corners, it is surfacing the different ways that these drivers do approach it. And sometimes they do touch the grass and kick up a little bit of dirt as well. As they head through this final sector, getting close up to these walls. That always makes me nervous.
Oh, so nervous, especially with that camera view, because you just don't know until it's too late. There's no prediction involved, so the anxiety starts to kick in. Lewis Atkinson driving very quickly at the moment to try and escape Amit Biswas, who's sideways and still gaining on Lewis Atkinson. And you just mentioned your little slip up there saying surfer. Well, they're surfing on the grass. So I don't think it's a bad comparison, to be completely fair with you. Sweeping round turn 4 now. They're going to surf through that one. Amit Biswas certainly does. Maybe fancying himself a bit of a sim surfer rather than a sim racer today. Certainly Big Ed Ted is going to be in that case, and he surfs around turn 5. Such a tricky corner to get right. You don't actually know that you're going to hit that runoff area on the exit until you've actually gotten onto it over that little lip and up a little bit in pitch, so very tricky to get that absolutely right. The gap now between him and Simon Bishop, 1.6 seconds. This is the penultimate lap of the race. We'll be on lap 15 in about a minute time. Awkward entry through 8. The banking NASCAR style corner coming back onto turn 9 and turn 10 into turn 11. Very scary area for these drivers to handle. Absolutely love seeing it though. I think the gap is, it feels like it's come down a little bit. I feel like there might be a second win here. Personal best 208.1 from Reese Davidson, and McEwen at the moment not doing exactly those same times. So there is potential here, but only one lap to go. A mistake by any of these guys is going to drop them right down the pack and out of the podium position. So there is a lot to play for still. And that tiny little error that can happen, well, let's see if it does happen through the final couple of corners there for Matt McEwen, and he will be now on to the final lap of this race. Checkered flag will be out at 207.8, looking mighty at this point, and that's his 14th lap out of 15. So at this point, I think the gap is going to continue to evolve. 1.3 seconds the gap now. Bishop finding a little bit of a run through turn 1. It's not going to be enough though, Matt. I think it's probably a little too late, a little too little, and a little too late.
It might be. They're just all pushing so hard. Personal best there for Bishop. The pace is still there even on lap 15 of this race, or lap 14 as we've got the lap times, but they're still going for it, and they have to, because if they're not on the edge, like this case, Big Head Ted has to go for it because Simon Bishop is going to close down. He's still absolutely on the limit. 207.8 is incredible. Purple through the first sector as well. He is going for it. The gaps come down to 1 second. So he is dialed in. He is concentrating. After a long night of racing, Simon Bishop is still raring, ready to go.
Oh, I love to see it. All right, well, we're coming into the last half of this race, and I believe Dive Cable is now really under pressure from Alex Little. So the battle for 4th going for Gareth Collier, sliding his way through and onto the back straight through 7, now onto turn 8. no opportunity to really overtake at this point. But you can see Alex Little really taking that shallow line entry point, whereas Gareth Collier is focusing on those exits, trying to keep the gap between him and Alex Little. So nothing in it at all. Final couple of corners, Matt McEwen is coming up to. What's going to happen into 11 for these two drivers? Alex Little opting for the wider line this time, so he's going to focus on trying to get a good exit. Doesn't though, so Gareth Collier safe once again, but over the crest in the hill, Matt McEwen, he is going to be the race victor as long as he gets through these last couple of corners nice and smoothly. Does so through 16, does so through 17 with a bit of style as well. Wow, that was close. Last lap of the race, last corner, he's sideways into it, or nearly into it, and across the line. That's going to be it. Matt McEwen takes another victory, 2 out of 2 in round 3 for the man who likes Weet-Bix or doesn't like Weet-Bix in the morning. Big Ed Ted takes 3rd position there with Simon Bishop following up in 3rd place. A good reconciliation of points for Simon Bishop in this championship. Gareth Collier holds on to 4th place with Alex Little in 5th. And then, of course, Scotty Ray holding out the top 6. Ben Groves and Lewis Atkinson in 7th and 8th position. But it is this man here. He has done it again. Not by the margin we saw in race 1, but certainly with a big enough margin to call that a convincing win, Matt.
Absolutely. Isn't it starting to look dominant from McEwen? Big Head Ted gave him a good run on that opening lap, and I remember back to turn 1 with McEwen out sideways around the outside. That was a critical moment that helped him hang on to the lead, and he just continued to extend it since then. Big battle in behind. Great driving for Big Head Ted to be in 2nd. Simon closing in, but not quite there. And there was a lot of battles out on track, wasn't there? It was great to see. Dive Cable did manage to hang on to 4th ahead of Alex Little, who nearly lost the position for Scotty Ray, who came back through the last few corners on that race. And then Sly Ben the Cat Supra, I think, got past Lewis potentially for 8th there. We'll get confirmation in a moment. Or perhaps my leaderboard's wrong, but we're not too far away from getting the official results to confirm that.
We are indeed, and of course we'll be hearing from the top 3 finishers in this race, so we'll hope to see Matt McEwen, Reese Davison and Simon Bishop jump in for a short interview once we get the result up. A bit of a long lead time on this, 15 seconds remaining while we process the final results in this. Let us know, was there a hectic moment in that race that you enjoyed? That lap 1 was absolutely intense. There was no bars given, no space given. It was all go in that opening lap. And I tell you what, Matt McEwen, he found himself falling down the pack all the way through that first lap. Felt very, very long. Here are your final results for round 3, race 2. Matt McEwen takes the victory again, with Reese Davidson taking his best position finish so far in the GTNZC. Simon Bishop reconciles a few points with a 3rd place finish here. Then it is Gareth Collier and Alex Little in 4th and 5th. Scotty Ray takes 6th position with Ben Groves in 7th. Amit Biswas gets into the top 8 today in race 2. And then it is Clan Fever, Crimson, Tom England and Lewis Atkinson rounding out the final drivers of the grid. Oh, Matt, absolutely exciting. And we've got a similar lineup coming up next week where we go from the faster cars into the slower cars again. So the drivers are going to have to get familiar with this kind of setup, I feel.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I thought that was going to be a difficult task for these drivers. But when we look at that race, they all performed exceptionally well. And actually, you'd say that was less chaotic than the Super Formula race, where we saw those opening couple of laps, a few mistakes, and then even later on, a few drivers spinning. So perhaps this is actually a way, that works quite well.
Yeah, indeed. And I tell you what, I'm super keen to see what's going to happen with these GR010s next week. The hypercars will be a lot of fun, so make sure you tune in next week as well. We're hoping to get a few of the guys into the interview room. Maybe we can give them a quick ping if the race admins are listening. Quick ping for our drivers so we can get some interviews underway. But I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what your hectic moment of this week was from your perspective, and let us know who you've been supporting. We've got viewers from all over the grid, the grid being New Zealand, all over New Zealand, watching today here on NZ Sim Racing TV. And I believe we do have one waiting for an interview right now.
Yes, we do. And if it isn't anyone other than Simon Bishop, hopefully we've got you on the line there finishing third place in that race after a big battle. Simon, have we got you?
I hope so.
Excellent. There we go. Simon, first of all, congratulations on that third place. Probably not where you wanted to end up, but it's a good reconciliation of points. How was race 1? How was race 2 for you overall?
Yeah, race 1 didn't end well. We'll put it that way. Pretty annoyed with that, particularly on the back of last week. But what was good about it, I suppose, was after the turn 1 kerfuffle, I ended up out on the wet curbs, which was a terrible place to be. And then drove all the way back from 10th to 2nd, so I was pretty happy with that, because those cars are impossible to pass with. And then, yeah, crashed. So annoyed about that. And then the second race didn't qualify well enough. I was on a really good lap and stacked it. And then your second lap was always way faster than your first lap for whatever reason, so just didn't get the grid spot. And then, yeah, it's surprisingly good speed. Like, I didn't think I'd be that good. But it just lost too much time getting past those guys in the battle to the death that it was there. But I mean, it was a good night and something to build on for next week.
Absolutely right, and we're at the halfway point of the season as well. So you definitely found some second wind towards the end. We noticed you were turning in sharper with those cars. You were trying to get on the throttle a lot sooner. Was that the sort of optimal technique in these RCF 14s?
I don't know, to be honest, but given that I could still see McEwen's car at the end, it probably wasn't too bad. But yeah, I saw the way that Ted was driving it. So I've kind of figured that his tyres would probably go off, and I think they probably did. And then I just tried to keep it as straight as possible, but it was kind of a tricky car to drive. It just had no turn when you're going slow, so that wee hairpin at the back of the track was so tricky. But
yeah,
it was good to try and hunt them down. I wish I had another lap or two, but yeah, solid day.
Yeah, I mean, on the last lap there, you set the Sector 1 fastest throughout the entire race, so you were really on form right at the end of the race. And yeah, if there was a couple more laps, might have been right there for at least a second position. In terms of the overall championship, I believe you're still holding on to second overall. Is there a mindset change? Is there anything that you're going to be switching up looking at the second half of the season?
Oh, I've just got to keep that. I don't think Matt's going to be caught unless he doesn't show up. He joined the first race so late. I was kind of like, oh, maybe I've got a chance. But yeah, I should have finished second in that race. Should have done better last week. So just a matter of knuckling down a wee bit. I didn't get much practice for this one, so I hadn't done more than 2 consecutive laps in Lexus. Obviously, if I'd done that now and the race was now, I'd have a much better idea about how the car drives. But yeah, on to next week.
Indeed. And speaking of next week, we've got the Toyota GR010s at Le Mans and the Lexus LC500 2017s at Daytona for a night race. Either one that you're particularly looking forward to or particularly fearful of?
I like the Le Mans cars. They're great. I'm going to have to relearn how you'd use the hybrid in these cars, but yeah, that'll be fun. I mean, any race at Le Mans is great, and it should be a good battle, I think, because of the way that that racetrack tends to. And then, yeah, for Daytona, I've barely done a race there in this game. I just somehow avoided it. So I'm going to have to learn it because I'm aware of that back chicane. But those cars are great to drive as well, so it should be a good race. And yeah, and then what I'm trying to avoid is that last race at the Nordschleife, because that's not going to be a good time for me. So if I can build a few points prior to that, then that will be great.
Absolutely right. And before we let you go, anyone you want to shout out or anything, any thank yous you'd like to send out there?
I actually had a good couple of races with Dive Cable and Scotty, so I think I'll shout them out. We were side by side for part of that last race, and then Dive Cable in the first race was really good. He was really clever in how he kind of kept me behind with his dirty air, and I had to use all my boost to get past him. But yeah, it was just good racing aside from the first corner on the first race.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Simon, for coming in and having a chat with us here. Congratulations on the P3 finish in the Lexuses today in race 2. Commiserations for the first race of the evening, but we hope to see you back here in the interview box next time out.
Me too. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, and I believe now we're going to be welcoming in Reese Davidson. It's been a little while since I've talked to Reese. Reese, hopefully you can hear us and hopefully we can hear you. First of all, congratulations on the P2 finish today. You were sideways left, you were sideways right, you were sideways in every direction possible today. How'd you find the racing out there?
The second race was fun. I just didn't have enough practice for the first race. I don't know. I just spinned it twice, I guess, and then was about where I should have been in the end of the first race. But second race, I just made a good few small mistakes, so I couldn't hang with McKeown. And then I kind of lost focus because there was 5 of us in the party chat, and there's a lot of noise going on. So yeah, it was fun. I liked how the RCF drives, even though it's a bit understeery. You can easily tip it in and get the slip angle, which I was doing on, I forget what turn it is, but the 90-degree right-hander just after the end of sector 1. That was nice, like kind of sliding it into there. There's a few corners where you can just slide it nicely, so it was fun. But I just didn't have the pace. I mean,
it was very close on that opening lap. I mean, you had a chance. McEwen went sideways through turn 1. You were right up there on the inside. Was it no grip or?
Nah, the thing is, I think for turn 1, it's actually slightly faster to be sideways, because you understeer too long otherwise. So you get the car turned, then straighten it up for the exit. Like I was doing that pretty much every lap. T1, I was getting a little sideways and then kicking it, just straightening it up for exit. There's definitely a few corners that it was faster to let the car get a bit unsettled on the brakes, have it sideways, and then the second you get on power, make sure you're straightened up and get on it. It's just one of those cars.
Yeah, because we were actually just talking to Simon Bishop, and at the end he was obviously closing you down just that little bit, but he was actually watching how you were driving the car, because it was clearly more optimal to be sideways in a lot of corners, and he suddenly found a burst of speed at the end, and it was about a second between you guys.
Yeah, I just lost focus that second half of the race. There was just too many people talking in the chat. I was just getting a bit hot and bothered, and No, it was I enjoyed that. Finally, I could have a good result. I mean, last week I had a decent result, but I felt like I should have been second with whatever happened last week with the lag and the H pattern and whatever. But whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Well, it's been great to see you resurge, especially in these commercial cars that we know you enjoy driving. Certainly from a point of view, you've got a lot of skill in drifting. We've seen that in previous years with you as well, which is great fun.
Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do a showcase later.
That would be great. We'd actually love that. That can be our hectic season-ending moment of just you drifting the cars around the track, which would be brilliant. Before we let you go, mate, any shout-outs or thanks that you'd like to send out there?
Shout out Lewis for just shout out Lewis. He had a bad time, but shout out Lewis.
Shout out.
Didn't enjoy that second race.
There was a couple of guys I don't think enjoyed that second race, had a bit of a bad result in a few cars that we saw, turned around the wrong way at the wrong corners, so didn't work out well for everyone. I think I said this on the stream, 50% of people love Alsace and 50% hate it. Certainly the people I talked to, but nonetheless, congratulations today, Rees, on the second place finish in race 2. Commiserations for race 1, but nonetheless, we hope to see you back on the podium next week.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know about Daytona, but give it
Le
a go.
Mans, maybe?
It's a grippier car, right? So I don't know.
We'll see. Nonetheless, thanks very much for jumping in and having an interview with us. We appreciate that very much.
Yeah. Cool.
Fantastic. All right, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have Matt McEwen coming in for an interview today, so that is going to be our interviews, Simon Bishop and Rees Davidson. So both of them not having the best race 1 there, Matt, but race 2, they both came alive a bit.
Yeah, it's continued the theme with Big Head Ted, hasn't it? He continues to dominate in these road cars and struggle a little bit in the quicker cars. So you know, that's just one of those stories that plays out throughout this series. And then Simon Bishop, a couple of mistakes already in this series, costing him time. And yeah, that one in the Super Formula, you could hear in the way he spoke there that it hurt.
Yep, it did indeed. And we've actually had a suggestion for race moment here. Scotty, Ray, and Atom for the entirety of the first race. I think that's a very good suggestion. Let's look forward to what's happening in round 4. Of course, we've got the Toyota GR010 hypercars at Le Mans for 12 laps. There is a required racing hard tire, and then you can choose your racing mediums and racing softs with 2 times tire wear and 3 times fuel. It's going to make for a very interesting strategy call throughout that first race. Then race 2 will be jumping in the Lexus LC500 2017 cars for Daytona, 16 laps and a night race situation on the sports medium tires with high degradation and high fuel consumption. Expect some pit strategies to be executed through that. Join us here on the 3rd of August, same time, same place on NZ Sim Racing TV to watch along. Make sure you give those likes and subscribe, spread the hype and get it out there. This is the GT New Zealand Championship, where we are officially crowning a GT national champion on behalf of New Zealand Sim Racing Collective and NZ Esports. Of course, a massive thanks, of course, to our primary sponsor, Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand, for sponsoring us with this real-world drive. The first place champion will get this at the end of the season. Massive thanks, of course, to New Zealand Esports, as well as the parties supporting in the background, Hooncorp E-Sports, TrackSpotTV, and Hectic Motorsport. Before we go, Matt, a final word from yourself. That 4th round is looking very, very exciting. I'm guessing you're looking forward to it as well.
I'm loving this series so far. The GT New Zealand Championship has been producing some great racing, some great moments throughout as well. And as you say, we're heading towards more action, 2 iconic tracks in the next round. And the second half of the season is filled with more challenges for these drivers.
Exactly right. And so for us here at Spa and at Alsace, that is going to be it for this evening. My name is George Cook, and I've been joined in the commentary box by Matthew Smith. And on behalf of everyone behind the scenes, thank you very much for watching. We will see you here on the 3rd of August for round 4 of the GT New Zealand Championship. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your week, and we will see you, of course, next time out. Goodbye.